Hello. We are doing this. Hello. Hi. Um, so this is a very jank Fire Emblem 1 tier list. This is gonna be. Now, as you can see, I have used a window of an entirely different website to show like stats and growth rates and all that because I don't have a Discord bot and I'm too poor to. We're not popular enough to have a server, so this is the best we got. This is gonna be very jank. Um, I decided to do this because I don't know. We lost to Iron Man for Fire Emblem One, but we had most of the characters, and I feel like I have a pretty decent grasp on all of them. There's only three we didn't get, and I can just rank them because of just how they are. Because one of them's, you know, bad, and the other two are just pretty good. So yeah. Um, Now, as you know, if you watched the Iron Man, we lost pretty badly. Yeah, we got about 80. We got 80% of the way through the game, and then we got Scott. It was a misplay into a bunch of like actual just unlucky misses into a bunch of crits. It was just very unfortunate. So, I'll rank the characters. I'm just gonna go over the. You can't see S here, so let me hold up a little bit. So anyway, I'm just gonna go over the characters, the tiers. It doesn't really matter. S is just really, really good. You basically always want to use. They'll always be some of your best units in the game, or they just are some of the best units in the game. Um, A is really solid. They'll probably always be pretty good. It's very hard for them not to be good, but they're not as good as like the S tier units. B is okay. B is like no. A is like really good. B is like good, solid. They'll always turn out at least decent. So you know, sometimes if like you're unlucky, they'll sometimes be bad or whatever. But like B is always like solid. B is not bad. C is like niche. To me, like very niche. Like they're just not as they either have like they're either good early and bad late, or they have like a weird niche where they can do something in like a chapter that no one else really can, and then that's about it, and they don't really see much use past like one or two maps. D and F are just bad, just bad units. Like either have very glaring flaws or are just so inferior to everything else that it's like there's no point in ever using them. I don't think we're gonna have anyone in F, but actually we might. Yeah, we might actually have two units. We might actually have units in F, but anyway. Um, let's do it. We got 52 characters to go through, and let's do this. Let's have fun. Okay, so the first character we got is obviously Mars, Mr. Marth, Mr. Marth slash Mars. Base stat wise, he starts off with pretty good bases. 5 strength is good. 7 speed is great. 7 luck is whatever. Also, oh yeah, forgot to say. While I'm doing this tier list, I'll explain some things that are weird about this game in terms of like stats, what makes this game different. 7 luck is pretty good to start off with base, but luck is really fucking useless in this game. Luck is like does nothing. So basically what luck does is luck doesn't prevent crits. It doesn't like give you crit dodge. It gives you magic dodge, and then it's added to your skill to calculate your crit chance. So luck is kind of useless defensively, but offensively it's good. So yeah, his base defensive 7 is actually great though. Not a lot of units have 7 defense at this point. Not a lot of units have that much defense. Basically the only other ones are like Jagan, and I think Sita has 7 defense, but I'm not sure. We'll get to her later. Anyway, his bases are pretty alright. 18 HP is a little bit low, but like it's whatever. Everyone starts off with like that amount of HP pretty much. At chapter 1. His skill is a little bit low, but again, it doesn't really matter. He uses swords, so he'll always hit. He'll basically have a really high hit chance regardless. Marth does have 7 move also, which is pretty good. It's tied for the highest among non-mounted units, and that's just good. He can get places faster than pretty much every other non-mounted unit outside of snipers and mercs, which I'll get into later. Marth is in the Lord class. which basically means he only gets 20 levels, and once he gets level 20, he can't level up anymore, which does really suck. I don't think he goes to 30 in this game. I think that's only in Shadow Dragon that he gets level 30, or maybe in Mystery of the Emblem it happens as well, but I don't think he gets level 30 in this game. I think it's hard-coded to just like level 20 is the cap. Growth rate wise, he does start with the rapier, which is basically one of his exclusive swords. Marth has 3 exclusive swords in this game: rapier, Mercurius, and Falchion. Falchion is required to beat the final boss and has no durability. Rapier is just like how standard rapier does well against knights and cavaliers, which is actually useful in this game because almost every single boss and most of the enemies are armored knights or cavaliers. So effective damage, which is triple might, which is pretty good. Mars is also stuck with swords the entire game, but that's fine because swords are the best weapon type in the game. They have the lowest weight, they have the lowest weight, and they have the best weight to damage ratio, I think, pretty much, outside of like some like Silverlands, but Silverlands also weighs a lot, so yeah, he's pretty good. So yeah, he has the best weapon type. Growth rate wise, Marth has insane growth rates: 90 HP, 50 strength and speed, 70 luck, 40 skill, 30 weapon level, 20 defense. I'd say his weapon level growth is a little bit low, especially when he starts at 5, but Marth only needs very little weapon level. Weapon level is weird in this game. Basically, there's like certain benchmarks that you want to hit, and then that's about it. So for sword units, basically you want to hit 9 to get silver swords. For lance users, you want to hit 7 for silver and then 14 for Gradivus. And then for bow users, it's just 12 for Parthia, 12 or 13 for Parthia, and that's it. It's very little in terms of requirements. So Marth, plus Marth has 2 exclusive swords, and that he doesn't need weapon level for. So, as far as I know, so his weapon level really doesn't matter. He's basically guaranteed to hit 9 to get silver swords eventually, unless you get really unlucky. My Marth was really bad. Like, he got super screwed over in strength and like defense. So my Marth was actually really fucking bad outside of like he was above in HP and skill, which are pretty useless, and behind in strength and defense, which is like, because he just never gained defense, naturally, which sucks. Now, I do have to talk about Mercurius. Mercurius is a sword unique to him, and it does give Marth the unique attribute of when he gets a level while he's using Mercurius, he has a 25% chance to gain 2 in a stat instead of 1. Which is nice if it procs, but like, if it doesn't proc, you know, it's like, whatever. I only had it proc on HP and luck on my run, so, you know, it's a 1 in 4, so it's like, it can happen, but it's not going to be super frequent. What else about Marth? Oh yeah, so Marth is the only one that can visit villages in this game. So basically, every village, he has to visit every single village, which does eat into his, like, which does make it so that you have to go certain routes with Marth. So sometimes he can't be in certain places that you would want him to, which does suck. He does have, if you want everything, he does have to go certain routes on the map or prioritize certain, like, areas. After chapter 6, he gets the fire emblem, which allows him to open any chest on the map. And so he basically becomes your thief. He can open any chest in the game for free and get all the items in there. And then so basically that, unfortunately, that is both a good and a bad thing. Because I think it's great, because he's the big character. You always have a way to open chests for free. But the problem then becomes, it makes it so that Marth has to do more things in a map and not just focus on combat or like going to finish the map. So I feel like that's also a slight detriment to him, is that he needs to go, you want him to like be the front man, but he also has to visit all the villages and get all the chests and all that. Overall, I think Marth is pretty good in this game. He has high growth rates. If his stats are lacking in any way and you get far enough in the game, there's a secret shop where you can just buy stat boosters to boost him, to cap all his stats, which the stat cap for, I think, everything is 20 except for HP, which I think is 40 or 60 or 50. I'm not sure. It's between 40 or 60. Yeah, I say Marth is pretty good. I will say he is kind of weird in the sense that if you get unlucky with him, he is kind of a liability. You kind of have to like keep him safe. What you can do though is Marth is a good like bait character as well because of how the game is coded. Enemies will almost always target Marth above everything else. So if you put Marth in range of an enemy, they will most likely target him, which can be used and which I used in my run to save specific units if they're low on health. But it can also bite you in the ass because everyone who can target Marth will pretty much target him. So if you put him in range of a bunch of enemies, he can just get crit and die. So there is that point. But overall, I think Marth is pretty good. I'd say I don't think he's A. I'd say he's at least B. I don't think he's A. I mean, swords are pretty good, but like, and he is required to beat the final boss, obviously. But I don't think Marth is as good as like the A or S tier units, because my Marth wasn't that good. So like he can be just like an average unit. But I think he's nowhere. I think he's B. He's good. He's like solid. At the very least. All right. Next we have the Christmas Cavaliers. I'll talk about them very briefly, because they're both getting the same ranking. But Abel, he's going in S. Abel, one of the best units in the game. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone who's played the game or knows about the game. Hold on, let me see if that's showing up correctly. Yeah, you can see me going through the... Okay, it's showing up good. Yeah, Abel, he's S. He's really good. One of the best units in the game. He starts off in the Cavalier class, which is, you know, one of the best class in the game. Cavaliers are the best class because they start off with 9 movement. They can promote. So they're one of the few classes that can promote. And then they go up to 10 movement. They get swords and lances. They're just the best class in the game, you know. One of the best class. I think arguably the best class in the game. I would say Draco Knights are better, but the bow weakness does suck. So I think Paladins are just the best class in the game. Pretty much. But yeah, I can't speak. Abel, he starts in chapter 1, same as Marth. He starts with an iron sword and a javelin, and he can use the javelin at base. Base stat wise, he's pretty good. He's got 7 defense, 7 speed, 6 strength, 7 skill, 18 HP, 6 weapon level. He in terms of like stats, he has 1 weapon level proc away from using the silver lance at base, which is really, really good. Basically the best lance in the game. So if he gets a weapon level on his first level, you can just give him the silver lance from Jagan and have him go start gaining a bunch of experience. He is one of 2 characters that can do that in chapter 1. His growth rates are, so not surprisingly, really good. 70 HP, 40 strength, 50 skill, 70 weapon level. So he's a really high chance to just get that proc and be able to use silver lance. 50 speed, 40 luck, 20 defense. He's really good. Once he gets going, Abel just goes to the moon. He can use every weapon. He can quickly use every weapon in the game that you would ever want him to. He's very likely to cap most of his stats except for defense, but he has a 20% defense growth, same as everyone else. So he'll eventually get to a point, and he starts with 7. So eventually he'll get to a point where he'll just proc enough defense growth to go like 12 or 13. If you don't like his stats, you can stat booster him. He's one of the best candidates for stat boosters if he's falling behind. Yeah, he's just really good. Not much to say about it. He's one of the best units in the game. He starts at chapter 1. He joins you at the very beginning of the game. So, like, it's very easy to train him. And what you get out of it is an amazing unit. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, there's not really much to say about Abel. Like, he's just great. He's honestly great. He's honestly, like, nutty. Alright, next is his other one of the Christmas Cavs. Kane. Kane's going in the same spot. Kane's S. Kane's just also really good. Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure this shows up well. Oh, sorry. Okay, now it's being finicky. No. There we go. So we got Kane. Yeah, Kane's really good. Kane's just as good as Abel. There's very minute differences between the two. Kane has slightly lower bases in speed and skill and what, like, he has slightly lower bases, I'd say, in speed, skill, and weapon level, but like he has higher space strength. So, Kane starts off with a lance and iron sword. I don't think he can use the javelin at base. I think he needs one weapon level proc to do it. And he is 2 away from the silver lance instead of Abel's 1, which does kind of suck. Growth rate rise, insane. Like 90 HP, 30 strength, 60 skill, weapon level, and speed, 50 luck, 20 defense. His growth rates are really good. Very similar to Abel's. Also very similar to Abel. Once he starts getting kills and starts getting up there, he just goes to the moon. I don't think there's any major difference between Abel and Kane. There's enough of a difference, like in Shadow Dragon, to put them in different tiers. I think they're both just really, really good units. They're 2 of the best units in the game. The game just kind of revolves, like, it helps that they're in the best class in the game, and they start at Chapter 1. They join in Chapter 1, so it's like, if you want to use them, you have the entire game to use them, you know? So it's like, yeah, they're pretty good. I'd say their only downside is that, like, Rider's Banes are kind of common during the midpoint of the game, so, like, they can't really fight those guys, but, like, that's what you have Draco Knights for and other units, so, like, that's their only weakness, and then other than they're pretty good. I used Abel and Kane the whole time, and they were, like, my carries, so, yeah, S tier. Pretty fucking good. Sorry, I was responding to something. All right, that's Abel and Kane. There's not much to say about them. Cavaliers are just busted. All right. So next we have Jagan. Jagan is a weird one. So you initially look at Jagan, right? And you think, oh, his bases are pretty all right. You know, 8 speed, 9 defense, 10 skill, 10 weapon level, 20 HP, 7 strength. They're not that much higher. They're actually surprisingly not that much higher than your 2 other starting Cavaliers. Like, he has the same amount of strength as Abel, starting strength, and he has only like 2 extra points of defense over Marth. And then you look at his growth rates and you go like, wow, these are abysmal. 10 HP, 10 strength, 10 skill, 10 speed. 0 weapon level, 0 defense, 0 luck. So you're like, wow, this unit kind of seems like ass. And normally I would say, yeah, like, Jagan is not going to grow well. Unless you get really lucky, he's never going to gain HP. He's very unlikely to gain the stats he has growth with. But I would say Jagan is actually decent in this game. Or pretty alright in this game. Because of stats capping at 20, his stats aren't that bad enough that he doesn't contribute for, like, a good portion of the game. He will fall off. He will definitely fall off in a few chapters. I'd say by, like, chapter 10, he's probably falling off. But there are stat boosters. Stat boosters in this game are insane. The HP one gives like plus 9 HP, and every other one gives plus 3 or plus 4 in a stat. So, if you invest stat boosters into him, suddenly he's able to keep up. He's a good candidate for the one arm scroll you get outside of a secret shop, because it boosts him to 15, which then he can use Grativu. He's one of the few candidates that actually benefits from the arm scroll, other than, like, what's his name? George, if you get unlucky. But I would say Jagan actually can get past his bad growth rates and actually become one of your better units. Mainly because he's in Paladin. He's a Paladin, so he's in a great class anyway. So, like, all that's holding him back is, like, his stats not growing. But, again, stat boosters help. So I'm going to put him in B. I think he's a B tier unit. He's not amazing. Let's not get around the bush. If you are not putting stat boosters into this man, he is going to fall off hard as all hell. But I think if you're willing to invest stat boosters into him, Jagan can definitely go to endgame and can definitely be a like frontline / unit that sticks with you the entire game. With the caveat of you are giving stat boosters to him to help him keep up. If you don't want to put stat boosters into him, he's like a C or D tier. He's like a C tier unit. He's good for the early game and then you drop him. But I think because like stat boosters can keep him relevant the entire game and he is in the best class, I think it boosts him up to B. Bumps him up to B. With the caveat again of he needs stat boosters to keep going. Because like 8 speed isn't good enough past a certain point. Because he will get slowed down by most of his weapons. And 7 strength also isn't very good past a certain point. It just means you're not you're not killing anything, which just stinks. But yeah, overall he's like solid. I also will say his base HP is really bad. 20 HP is not great, especially for later on. With how magic works, a crit blizzard will just kill him at base. It'll just one round him. And crits are pretty common late game, as I experienced. So, again, he needs stat boosters. But he's definitely viable throughout the entire game, which is kind of crazy to think about. Okay. Yeah, Jagan B. Next is, who is it? Oh, we got Gordon. Gordon's bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Gordon. Gordon's getting C at best. I could put this man in D. Like, honestly, I'm gonna put him in C because I know, but yeah. Gordon, where is Gordon? There's so many people that have the same exact fucking portrait as this dude. Yeah. Alright, so here's one of the copy portraits. Gordon's pretty bad. I'd say he gets C. So Gordon is the first archer you get. Archers are weird in this game. Basically, they're considered like an armored like bow user. So they have higher base defense and low movement, lower like 5 move, because they're wielding armor. They do promote in this game. They actually do promote in this game to snipers. And the sniper promo is really good, because how promotion works in this game is you go up to a certain base total. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, for Cain and Abel, right? Their promotion items are not really heavily contested, and they don't really get anything from promo except +1 move. So it's like they don't really need it. It's not really contested between them because they'll both be really good regardless. They just want the level reset basically from promoting. So yeah, they don't really need it. You get enough of the paladin proofs to promote them, so it's like whatever. Anyway, Gordon really benefits from promoting. The stat gains are insane. He goes up to the sniper, because what happens is when you promote, you go up to the class bases. So he'll go up to like at least 14 speed, 7 defense, 7 move, 7 strength, 24 HP. It's a great promotion for him. The problem with Gordon is that he starts at level 1, he has 5 move, and his bases are horrendous. He has the lowest bases of the entire Chapter 1 cast, and of all archers in the game. Now you could say, oh, he starts at Chapter 1, and that is true. But you get an archer, you get another bow unit in the next chapter that has more move, better bases, and better growth rates than him. So that hurts Gordon on top of his bad bases. And his growth rates are not particularly good either. 40 HP, 30 strength, skill and speed, 40 luck, 50 weapon level, and 10 defense. He has a good chance to get weapon level, but his base is 5. So he needs you need to win a lot of coin flips to be able to use Parthia. And he does not get weapon level when he levels up. No, he goes up to 10. So if you fail on coin flips, he'll go up to 10. But even when he gets to 10, you need to still succeed on coin flips to use Parthia, which is the only bow you want to use anyway. So, yeah. He's just really bad. His base skill is 1. He's never going to crit until he gets, like, a bunch of levels. And his skill growth isn't even that good. So he's really relying on his promo. He is one of the units I would say that, like, wants to promote as soon as possible. But the first Orion's Bolt isn't until Chapter 12. So... And by that point, you get George, who's just better. So, yeah, he's kind of just shit out of luck. There's no real reason to use Gordon. I would say, like I could see the niche use of, like, oh, Chapter 5 has flying units. Chapter 5, you fight flying units, but all the flying units spawn next to the 2 bone units you get later, and by that point you have Caster, who's just better. So yeah, I almost want to put him in D, but like I think because he joins in Chapter 1, he is usable, and he is a usable Parthia user if you want to go for that for him. But I think I think it's just a pain in the ass to get him there, and he is wholly reliant on his promotion, and then getting good levels after that to use Parthia. And even then, you just get, like, an okay Parthia user. You don't get one that's, like, super amazing. You just get an okay one. But, I mean, it's, like, it's probably the fourth best Parthia user. I would say third. So, like, and you kind of want a Parthia user, so it's whatever. Yeah, I'd say C. That's the best I'm going to do with him. I'm contemplating D, but I'll put him in C for right now, because I think there are definitely, like, a tier below him in terms of units. Gordon. Next is Drog. Okay. So Drog, fun fact, I learned in, the one video, what is it, Davis G, when he did his Shadowman playthrough, I learned that Drog is just guard backwards, which I never realized until then. But Drog is just... In every language, his name is guard backwards, which is kind of funny, but also stupid. But yeah, Drog. He's definitely like a C tier unit, like at best. I would argue he's probably D, but he does have a niche use. I don't know. All the armor knights in this game are really bad. I'll put him in D for now. Drog is pretty. No, I'll put him in C, because he is better. Okay. Because he does have a niche use. So Drog, base stat wise, pretty alright. 18 HP, 7 strength is great. He actually has more skill than Gordon at 3, which means he's more accurate, which is funny. He has 4 weapon level, which is bad. 3 speed is also really bad. 1 luck. Luck doesn't really matter, so it's whatever. He does have a great base defense of 11, which is higher than Jagan, which is great. So he has a great base defense. Growth weight wise, his growths are abysmal. He has 60 HP. They're like, his growth rates are so weird because they're completely opposite of what you want for a knight. He focuses in skill. Oh, hold on. Sorry, my bad. He focuses on skill and speed and HP. But they're not even that good. He has 60 HP, 40 skill and speed, and the rest is 20. Except for defense, which is 10%. So he's basically never going to get defense. Knights in this game are unique in this game only, in that this is the only game where knights do not promote. They can use swords and lances at base like paladins, like cavaliers and Pegasus knights. but they don't promote, and they are stuck at 5 movement the entire game. And he does come with an iron sword and a lance stuff, so he does have both of them. But the weapon triangle doesn't exist, so it doesn't really matter if he has both. It's just an extra option for him. If you train him, he will eventually get enough speed to maybe not get doubled by enemies. I think reliably, to a point where it's like he will get, on average, get to like 10, 12 speed if you use him a lot, which will get him out of his speed hole and eventually make him decently fast. You know, he won't get doubled for a large portion of the game, and he'll actually deal some decent damage, and he might actually double other enemies if he's using swords, because swords don't weigh as much. The problem is, and he does have a great, and his base defensive 11 does make him a really good tank early on, because no one really has that much defense. So he does have, there are a lot of situations where you can just kind of throw Drog in and he doesn't really take much damage, and he chips people down for your better units. But the problems start to show when Drog can't promote. Mages just delete him. He's not going to be getting, he doesn't get much more bulky because of his 10% defense. He kind of just stays at 11 defense. And he's kind of just stuck there. So he's good early, and then you just drop him once, like, deployment slots become a thing. Because there's just no point to field him anymore when your Cavaliers are just moving much faster and have about just as much bulk. So, yeah, he's not very good. I'd say he does get C tier because he does have the niche of, hey, he has 11 defense early, so you can use him to bait attacks, and he can tank pretty well. My Drog died actually pretty early on because, I didn't realize there was an Armor Slayer Cavalier, and I sent him against that, and the Cavalier just one-rounded him. So, the game does have early Armor Slayers just to fuck, specifically with Drog, which sucks, but yeah, he's okay. I'd say he does have a niche use. You use him when he's good, and then you drop him like a hot sack of lead once you get better units. So, yeah. I don't think he's really viable for, like, endgame or whatever, unless you give him a shit ton of stat boosters. And then what do you have? A 5 movement dude who has probably cap stats, and then, like, you could have a paladins with that, so it's not really anything you need, yeah. Yeah, anyway, next unit. Sita. Sita is pretty good. I will say Sita... is Sita an A tier unit? She's at least B. I'll put her in A for now, but I think she could... I'll put her in A. So Sita is the first Pegasus Knight you get. You get her in Chapter 1. Pegasus Knights are vying for the best class, along with Cavaliers. They promote, and their promo gain, they promote to Draco Lords, or Wyvern Knights, sorry, and their promotion is insane. Draco Lords are Wyvern Knights are one of the best class, along with Paladins. They're like, they both vie for top spot. I'd say Paladins are a little bit better because bows suck, and bows will just one-shot your Wyvern, so, yeah. But anyway, Sita, she joins in Chapter 1. Base stat-wise, hold on, let me get her base stats. Pretty good. She starts off with surprisingly really good base defense at 7. Her base HP is a little bit low at 16. I wish she had a little bit higher. Her weapon level is great at 8. She can use Silver Lances at base, and she's 1 point away from using Silver Swords, which are probably the best weapon in the game. Her speed is amazing at 12. Her luck is great at 9, even though luck doesn't really matter. Her skill is good at 6. And then her strength is pretty bad. Her base strength is pretty bad at 3. Growth weight wise, she's 50 HP, 20 strength in defense, but 70 skill, 80 weapon level, 90 speed, 70 luck. Sita will pretty much always cap speed, luck, skill, and weapon level. She's pretty much guaranteed to, because of how insane her growth rates are. and she'll pretty quickly get a decent amount of HP just naturally because it's a coin flip. I'm really bad at coin flip growths, but I think Sita also can use swords and lances, so she can use the Jagan Silver Lance at base, and she's one of the best candidates to use it. It's her enable basically, so yeah. Sita's really good. She's very much helped by the fact that her class is one of the best in the game. Pegasus Knight / Drake Wyvern Knight is just one of the best classes in the game, hands down, no contest. Flying, insane bulk, 10 move, like swords and lances, which are the two weapon types that are good. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, sorry, I lost track of thought because I was responding to someone. So, now you hear all that and you think, oh, Sita's like an S tier unit. Why is she an A tier? I think Sita is an A and doesn't hit that S tier because Sita really, really wants to promote. Because promoting boosts her strength, bumps her strength to 9, and bumps her defense to 14. Which are the two things that she is lacking in terms of growth rates, and that she really wants boosted. Because her growth rates are only 20% in those categories, so she's not really going to gain those very often, if at all, unless you get lucky. Which I did in my playthrough, but that's a separate thing. So she really wants to promote as soon as possible. The problem is the first Elysian Whip you get isn't until Chapter 19. Almost 80% of the way through the game. Which I think hurts Sita a lot. Because she wants to promote early, but she just can't. I think if there was an earlier Draco Whip, Sita would be an easy S. Like if there was an earlier Elysian Whip, like she'd be easy S tier, like one of the best units in the game, hands down. But I think because of that, she competes with the first Elysian. She competes for the first Elysian Whip with the other Pegasus Knights, the other 3 Pegasus Knights, who all have better strength growth. And will probably have equal to or better base strength than her, even if you train her a lot. Or even if you train her a lot, unless you're using stat boosters on her, which Sita is a great candidate for, like Draco shields and energy drops to increase her strength, or energy rings. But I think she is held back by that 20% strength growth, because like if she doesn't proc it or you don't give her energy rings, she will struggle to deal meaningful damage. Until she gets her promo into Draco Knight, and then she's like top tier unit, and then she's like a really great unit again. But I think the fact that she competes so hard for that item, and the fact that she wants it so badly, but she's competing for it with other units, and her strength and defense are very unlikely to grow, so she might struggle for damage throughout the game, I think puts her in A, which I think is perfectly fine. A is still really good, don't get me wrong. I just don't think she's like as good as Kane and Abel in this game. Yeah. Alright. And then next we have Rise. Oh, poor Rise. The man who got deleted from FE3. The man they deleted from FE3. Ah, Rise. You are... Oh, so, Rise, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. Rise is hot garbage in this game. I think he's at best D, and you're struggling on that one. He wouldn't say he's F, but he's definitely D. Rise. He has bases. The only base stat of his that matters is his 3 weapon level, which is abysmal. Which is really bad. Just gonna not sugarcoat it. Growth rate wise, his growth rates are horrendous, but they don't really matter. The only growth rate that really matters is weapon level, which is 20%. So horrendous for him specifically. He doesn't gain skilled or defense, which is just also really bad. He starts off with a heal staff. And that's it. He just starts off with a heal staff. So normally healers are pretty good in Fire Emblem. They're pretty decent to great, depending on what game you're in. Rise is just in the shittiest of situations. He joins in chapter 1, at the end of chapter 1, basically, and at the start of chapter 3, you get a healer who's just 10 times better than him. And you might be thinking, oh, I can just level up Rise a bunch by healing. No. In Fire Emblem 1, healers do not gain experience from healing. They only gain experience from going through combat. They do get a pretty nice chunk of experience through combat. They get like 30 per like attack they withstand or dodge. But it is slow. It is miserable to level up a curate. And Rise's growths do not make it worthwhile. Even if you get him enough levels to promote somehow, which basically means sitting him on a fort on one of the early chapters and having a thief just wail on him. Because thieves are the only ones that probably won't just kill him. You get maybe, on average, a point in HP, a point in weapon level, and that's it. Maybe a point in speed and luck if you're lucky. And then you can maybe promote him to bishop, and then he can be decent, but he'll just be inferior to every other bishop you have. Potential bishop you have. So, already he's a pain in the ass to level up and get him to a usable state. And then on top of that, his base weapon level is 3, which means he can't use any of the good staves in the game. The only staves you can use, I'm pretty sure, are heal and mend. And I don't even know if you can use mend in this game. Actually, let me double check. Oh shit, hold on. Hold on. Well, I don't even know if you can use mend. Oh, he can use mend because it only takes 2. So he can use mend. That's the only staff he can use though, because I'm pretty sure he can't use physic because physic is 7. Yeah. So he's never using physic. And warp, I think he's way out of warp as well. Yeah, warp is 5. So he's like, you might, if you get lucky and you train him up to level 10, you might get warp. That's it. Which Lena can use at base and joins at chapter 3. So there's no point to using Rise. The only use he has is in end of chapter 1 and chapter 2 for healing people 10 health. But you also have plenty of forts in that thing that can do that just the same as him. And he gains no experience from using heal, so there's no point. So overall, he's a garbage tier unit. I'd say he's in D only because he does have that niche use of like, hey, he's a healer for chapter 2, which can be kind of rough, but that's it. He's bad. Bad unit. Just don't use him. He's a funny meme unit. He's a lot better in Shadow Dragon and obviously in New Mystery the Emblem, but in this game he is one of the worst units in the game, just straight up. I don't think there's very few units that could be considered as bad or worse than him. So yeah. Bad Rice. He's bad. And it's funny because his promo gains are good, but they don't fucking matter because he's never gonna get promo. He's never getting promo because the first bishop ring is going to Merrick and Linda. It's never going to him unless you're like, unless you're being weird and like fully committing. All right, so next we have Board, the first of the Axe Bros. Let me see if that's showing up right. Yeah. Oh, that's not showing up right. Okay, Board. First of the Axe Bros. Board is, what does he start with? Oh, he's the one that starts with a hammer. Base stat-wise, he's pretty good. 20 HP, 8 strength, 7 speed, 5 defense, 5 weapon level. His luck doesn't matter, 4 skills, whatever. He starts with an axe and a hammer. His growth rates are pretty good. 90 HP is great. 50 strength and skill is great. 20 weapon level is pretty bad, but he's an axe user, which we'll get into later. 10% speed is horrendous. 30% luck is okay, and he has a 50% defense growth, which is hilarious. So he does have like the highest defense growth in the game, pretty much, which is funny. So he does turn out to be a better tank than fucking Drog very quickly. He will on average get more defense than Drog, and he will definitely get more HP. The problem with Board is he's stuck as a fighter. Fighters can't promote in this game, which really hurts Board, because he really would like a promotion to get some more stats. And he is also stuck with axes. Axes are pretty bad in this game. They weigh you down a lot, and there's not many of them. There's actually a surprising amount of axes, but a lot of them, pretty much all of them, are just early game, and then past a certain point, the game just doesn't give you axes anymore, because they're like, oh, you're not going to be using them anymore. So they kind of just stop giving you axes, which does kind of hurt. Although you can just use the early game axes you get and basically use them for the entire game if you're just using one fighter. I'd say Board is probably the second best of the fighters. He's definitely in the middle. I think having 10% speed is really fucking bad. He will get doubled by basic... No, actually... Now I'm thinking about it, 7 speed isn't good enough with axes. You get weighed down a lot. I think you get weighed down. I think he'll get weighed down to 0 with like a steel axe. And he won't ever really gain speed, so he's going to be doubled by everything, which kind of negates his whole like thing about lots of HP and bulk. So it kind of negates that whole strong point of him. I'm going to put him in D. I think Board is pretty bad. I think he's just kind of in a hole of... He's kind of in the hole of... He's in a shit class with the worst weapon type in a game where he can't promote. And having low speed just kind of will kill him if you try to use him late game. I think he's better than Rise, but like... It's just gonna kill him late game because like... What's he gonna do? Like, mages will just delete him because they'll always double him. And most physical enemies will delete him too because he won't gain... Because it doesn't matter if his defense is 12 when enemies always double him. Like, what? He'll have, like, 30 HP and, like, 12 defense? Maybe. And, like, if you use him a shit ton. But he's never going to double, so it's like, whatever. I think he's bad. I think he's D at best. I could see him being C because he can get pretty bulky, but I think the 0 speed is just too much of a hole he can't get out of. And I think if you want to use a fighter, you're basically only using one, and we all know which fighter you're using in this game if you've played this or Shadow Dragon. So yeah, D for Board. Next we got Cord. So Cord. He starts at level 3 as well. He has about the same bases. He has very similar base stats. He only starts with an axe, though. Oh, his weapon level is abysmal. His weapon level is 3, which is icky. Oh, he's just better. Oh, he has 100% HP. Okay. 40 defense, 40 luck, 40 speed, 30 strength, 20 skill, 50% weapon level. Yeah, Cord's just better. This is actually a pretty decent unit. No, obviously I didn't use Cord, but like these growth rates, these are usable for a fighter. I could see you using Cord. Cord actually seems pretty good. Like he actually becomes a tank because he starts at 9 speed, right? He actually has enough with the 40% to get to a point where he's not going to get doubled, or from really slow enemies. Don't get me wrong, sword wielding enemies will still like body him, but I think he's at least C. I'm surprised. I thought I was gonna rate him a D. Nah, he's at least C. I say he's better than Drog and Gordon. I say he's better than Drog for sure. It's weird, they use the same portrait, so it's hard to tell them apart, but like, yeah, I'd say Cord is probably C. He's probably better. I don't think he's as good as Barst, but like, if you train Cord, he can be a pretty serviceable like frontline unit that you just don't really care about. Like if Cord dies, like so what? You know? I'd say C tier. Yeah. Not really gonna go in depth. It's just like axes kind of suck. There's only also like in this game, there's only 3 axe users you get, and it's the 3 fighters, and that's it. That's all you get for axe users. So, you know, fuck me. Fuck axe users, I guess. Alright, next we have Barst. Arguably the best fighter by like pretty good margin. He has the best bases of the 3. Oh, can you not see that? Yeah, he has the best bases of the 3. Could you not see like board and cord? Here, I'll show them off real quick, just in case you couldn't see them, because I didn't realize if like you could see them in like OBS. There's board. Not that you can tell because their portraits are literally the exact same. Yeah, and there's cord. Yeah, there's that. Alright, sorry. Alright, Barst. Alright, Barst. Boy. So Barst, obviously, he's 2 levels higher than the other 2 fighters, but his bases are a lot better. 6 weapon level, 6 defense, 6 skill, 5 luck, 9 speed, 10 strength, 24 HP. Comes with a steel axe and a hand axe. His growth rates are really good. Actually insane across the board. His only weak growth is weapon level, but I think he can use every axe in the game at base already, so it doesn't really matter what his weapon level is. Oh, I forgot Daros is an axe user. I forgot about Daros. Anyway, yeah, he's probably the best axe user you get, and he's probably the only real usable one. It's him and Cord that are really the usable ones. I'd say Barst is the easiest to use. Cord is like the trainee axe user. This guy is like the actual axe user. Like solid axe user. I used Barst in my playthrough. He was pretty good throughout. He was pretty tanky. Even taking some like, he did get doubled quite a fair bit, but like his bulk is good enough that like it doesn't really matter if he gets doubled that much. Well, it does matter, but like he can take a hit, which is all you really need him to do. And he can hit back pretty hard. He does have a lot of coin flip growth, which is a little bit annoying because I don't do well with coin flip growth. But yeah, overall he's pretty good. I'd say he's B. I'd say Barst is definitely B. Like, he's definitely a weak B. I'd say he's definitely not as good as Martha Jagan, but like, he's easy to use, and if you want to use an axe user, he's there. He's pretty much your best axe user. Compared to the other 3 you get, like, I'd say him and Cord are the 2 best, and then the other 2 are pretty bad, but, like, yeah. Unfortunately, Barst can't promote in this game, so it's like he is really hurt by not having a promo to reset his level and give him some extra stats, or give him something else. So, yeah, because Hero is only a thing that Mercenaries promote to. Fighters don't get to promote a Hero in this game, which just is really fucking shitty, but whatever. Barst will not get a promo until Shadow Dragon, so rest in the pepperoni. Alright, next we got is Ogma. Ogma's really good. I'm not gonna lie. Ogma is really good in this game. I would put Ogma in A. At the very least. He is not S tier, I would say, but he is definitely A tier. Really, really good. He's the first mercenary you get. Mercenaries are probably the 3rd or 4th best class. I think they're 3rd. They're definitely like 3rd or 4th. It depends on how well you like mages. I think he's definitely 3rd though. Mercenaries get 7 move. They promote into heroes. Which keep the same amount of move, but just have like, you know, a level reset, which is the most important thing. Base stat wise, Ogma's really good. His strength is his strength and defense are kind of whatever at 6. They're good. No, 6 strength and defense at chapter 2 is good. His base speed is amazing though at 12, and his base skill is also amazing at 11. Growth rate wise, his growth rates are pretty insane except for skill and defense, which are only at 20%, but 20% is basically the standard for physical units anyway. His speed is a little bit low at 30%, but he starts off at 12, so... And with 38 levels, he has a really high chance of capping it anyway, so... He's a pretty good chance of capping it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He'll almost always double with an Iron Sword and stuff. 80% HP is insane. He'll pretty much always gain HP and become a really good frontline unit. 40 strength is also just really good. Luck doesn't matter, but like 40 strength means he will just get strength occasionally, and eventually he will get up to like a high strength stat. He's locked into the best weapon type, which is swords. With his 70% weapon level, he'll very quickly get access to silver swords. I'm pretty sure he has a pretty high chance of being able to use a silver sword that you get in Chapter 5, just straight up. Which is supposed to go to Harden, but, like, you can just give it to Ogma, who does really well with it. And, yeah, he's A. Like, mercenaries are really cracked in this game. They're, like, again, 3rd or 4th best class in the game. So, Ogma is helped out by the fact he's in one of the best classes in the game. But Ogma is also just a really solid unit. There's nothing really you can go wrong with him. I used him throughout the entire game. He only died to a magic crit. But, like, he's one of your best frontline units. I don't think there's anything you can really do wrong with Ogma. Alright. Yeah, Ogma is A. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say. Ogma's just really, really good. I mean, it's kind of like, I've kind of just explained all the basis for that, so now these units are kind of just going faster because it's like, we've gone over the basics of the game, and the only thing I have to touch on is mages when we get to Merrick, but yeah. Now it's just going to go a little bit faster. Next man, Daros. Daros, the first enemy you recruit, and the only pirate in the game, playable pirate in the game. He is... Oh, sorry. You can't see that. Base stat-wise, he's pretty alright. He's got 21 HP, which is great. 5 defense is kind of bad, but whatever. 7 speed is alright. 6 strength. His skill is abysmal at 2. Growth rate-wise, he has 0% skill, so he will never get higher than 2 skill. Which means his accuracy will always be ass with axes. He also has 10% speed, so he will on average only go up to 9 speed if you get him to 20. Or not even, he'll only go up to 8, which is rough. But to compensate, 40% defense, 50 strength, 90 HP. He's one of the bulkiest units growth rate wise. He's below Cord, but one of the bulkiest units like in growth and HP and defense. And then 50 strength means he'll probably cap strength. No. He'll get on average 8, so he'll go up to 14. Just whatever. Since he is the only pirate, he does have the unique niche of being able to walk on water tiles. I mean, it helps out in chapter 10, I think, where walking on water tiles can do something. That's about it. There's not much water you can take advantage of as a player, so his niche is pretty underutilized in this game. He is locked to, he cannot promote in this game. There's no barbarian class or warrior class, so he's just kind of stuck as a pirate, which does hurt him a lot because he really wants a promo gain. And he's also hurt by the fact he is stuck with axes. So he is always going to be weighed down significantly, which means his alright starting base speed of 7 is pretty much going to always be at like a 3 or lower at best with iron axes, and that's not good enough. Which means, it basically means late game he's always going to get doubled, even if you use him a lot, so... I think Daros is like a D tier unit. He's basically the same as Board in the sense that he's just in a bad class for this game with a bad weapon type. And there's no real reason to use him over the other two, over Quarter Barst or like any other unit that just does better. There's no real reason to use him, which is unfortunate because it is cool that he is the only playable pirate. But the niche he brings isn't really useful in this game specifically. So it's like, D. I think he's better than Cord. I think Board, sorry. Because at least he's bringing a niche. It's a bad niche, but it is a niche. So, you know. Yeah. Next up, Caster. Caster the Blaster. Caster is a hunter you get in chapter 2. You have to talk to him with, I think, Sita? Yeah. Base stat wise, he has kind of low bulk. 4 defense, 21 HP is not the best. His base HP is great, but his defense is not great. 2 skill is also pretty low. It's kind of unfortunate how his starting skill is so low. But his other bases are fine. 7 strength, 6 weapon level, 6 speed are great. Growth rate wise, he's really good. 70 HP, 60 strength, 40 skill is all great. 40 speed, 20 luck and defense or whatever. 20% weapon level is also just really... 20% weapon level is really unfortunate for him. He will have a hard time getting to the point to get Parthia, which I think does hurt him quite a bit. But I will say he is a better archer than Gordon. Mainly because his growth, because he will have high HP and high strength, so he will do a lot of damage with bows, and he has the highest strength of all archers, so he will do quite a bit of damage with bows. Hunters are weird in this game in that they also are shit out of luck in terms of promotion, so they cannot promote, but they start off with 6 move instead of 5 to archers, which is all right. I didn't realize his weapon level was that low. His like growth rate and weapon level, which just kind of changed my opinion on him a little bit. Because I was thinking he was going to be a really good Parthia user. But with 20%, he's definitely not really getting there, which does kind of suck. So I think arguably he is probably... No, I'd say he's at least B. I think Caster does have... I think he's a low B. I think Caster does have the niche of being a much better bow user than Gordon. I think Gordon is better in long term if he can... But Gordon also has the same problem with coin flips. So there's no real reason to use Gordon over Caster early game. And then by that point, like... Gordon's fallen off so hard it doesn't really matter. I think Caster is just your early game bow user, unless you get, like, him killed, and then, like I did, and then you use Wolf or Sedgar. I think Caster's main problem is just, like, not having enough weapon level for Parthia just sucks. Because that's the main bow you want to use late game, so, like... I feel like if you can get him the manual, and you get enough lucky procs, and you get Parthia, he's, like, really, really good late game. But I think overall, he's just one of the better bow users, because he'll just do a lot of damage with bows, which I think is useful. And he can use the silver bow, I think, relatively fast. I think you only need, like, 7 for silver bow. Or you need, like, between 7 or 9, which, like, I guess he's not going to get that far enough. But, like, he's just a better bow user than Gordon. So he can be helpful for the flying units you will fight in, like, 7 or 8. So, yeah, I think he's a step above Gordon for sure. Maybe I put Gordon in D and put Caster in C. Because I don't think he's as good as Barst. Maybe I move these two down. Yeah, maybe I go, like here. That seems more fair. I might be being too harsh on Caster. On archers in general, but I don't know. I don't really like him that much. Archers didn't really impress me this run, so yeah. All right, but yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'll probably change that, but I think that's maybe too harsh. But anyway, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting distracted and all that. My throat is starting to go. My voice is starting to go. But hopefully, yeah. Bippity boppity bows and stuff. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Yeah, Caster's all right. I think Caster is also held back just by no promo. No promo just sucks. Next we have Julian. What to say about Julian? Oh, sorry, you can't see that. Julian is the first thief you get. You get him at the start of Chapter 3. And he is pretty not great. I would say he's pretty bad. I would say at best he's a high D. No, I'd say he's low C. Julian, now, base stat wise, his base stats are pretty bad outside of speed. All the rest of speed and luck, all the rest of them are 4 or below. Like 6 skill is whatever. 4 strength, 4 defense is abysmal. 17 HP is bad. 2 weapon levels horrendous. Growth rate rise though, his growth rates are absolutely nutty. Outside of defense at 30%, which is still great for this game, mind you. 30% defense is great for this game. And 0 weapon level. The one that really bites him in the ass is his 0 weapon level. He can only use 3 weapons in the game. The Devil Sword, the Iron Sword, and the Steel Sword. Which significantly hurts his damage output, because he can't use Silver or Killing Edges, which are the best swords in the game. Or 11 swords. So, that hurts Julian. But if you give him experience, he will level up really nicely, and he does have a pretty good chance of getting really high stats. He will pretty much max out speed. I think he's pretty much like, if you get averages, he will average out to capping speed. And he does have a 70% strength growth, so he will quickly get strength. So he will do a lot of damage with Iron Swords. It's just... Thieves are weird in this. Thieves are pretty bad in Arcanea. Thieves are locked to... Thieves can't promote, so he's always locked... So he can't get any promo gains, and he's locked to only 17 levels because he starts at level 3, which is just... sucks. And Thieves are kind of useless in this game because of Marth having the Fire Emblem. You still need Thieves or Door Keys to open doors, but Thieves kind of only open doors in this game. There's never really a point in the game where you need multiple Thieves. Or more than just Marth opening chests, except for, like, Chapter 19, maybe, to speed it up. Or, like, Chapter 7, if you want to get the Seraph Robe. But that's about it. Chapter 6, if you want to get the Seraph Robe. But that's about it. Other than that, it's just, like, his Thief utility doesn't really exist. So I kind of just have to rate him as a unit. And as a unit, he's only gonna be ever decent. He takes a while to get going with his growth rates are really high, but it's going to take him a while, several levels to get going. And then at that point, he can't use the best swords in the game. So it's like, he's just handicapped by only having 2 weapon level. So I think but I think at the very least, if you give him levels, he can be a pretty good combat unit. So I think C is fair enough. I don't think he's a D tier unit, because I think he does have merit if you give him a bunch of levels. But yeah, C. I think it's the best thing he has. Alright, next we have Lena. Lena, the main healer of this game, I would say. Main healer? Yeah, I would say main healer. I would say he's the main healer. She is the main healer. She joins in Chapter 3, and she outclasses Rise in pretty much every single stat that matters. Speed, she's higher. Weapon level, she's way higher. Skill, she's higher. Skill doesn't matter, but she's higher defense as well. She comes with the Warp Staff, which she can use at base. There's a Mend Staff you get at the end of the chapter that basically goes to her. Her growth rates are pretty abysmal. She only has growth in speed, luck, and weapon level, and her weapon level is only 30%. It's higher than Riz, 10% higher than Riz. So, woo. She does have better growth rates than Riz, but she's never gonna get levels unless you train her on a thief in like chapter 4 or chapter 5. She does have Lena does have a unique stave that she can use called the Hammering that she gets in chapter 20. If you visit the village with Marth and then you get it and you trade it to her, she can then repair weapons, which means she can repair exclusive weapons like Excalibur and like Aura and all that, which is pretty good. Overall, I'd put her in like B. I don't think Hammering makes her A tier, and I think she's just okay. She's basically your main healer for most of the game. She can use basically every stave in the game, so there's no, except like I think Barrier. She can't use Barrier, but she can use Physics, she can use Mend, she can use Heal, and that's all she needs to. She can use Warp, she can use Hammering. That's all she needs. She's never going to gain levels, so her growth rates don't. She's never really going to gain levels, so her growth rates don't matter. So her promo gains also don't matter because she's never going to see them. Yeah, she's just your main healer. She's a lot better than Rise just simply because of weapon level, and having an exclusive stave also bumps her up to B. She's pretty much going to be a mainstay in your army just because she is the main healer. There's not really any other healers to take her spot outside of like Wendell and maybe Boa. But then late game she comes back for Hammering, so like to repair weapons, so like she still has that niche I think late game, so I think she's always going to be B. She's just B. She's just a healer. I don't think she's C because her healing is at least, she does have unique utility with Hammering, which is nice utility, and like she is your main healer for a big portion of the game, so yeah, D. Right, next is Navarre. Navarre. This is OP Navarre. This is OG Navarre. Yeah, Navarre is A. He is basically Ogma that joins one chapter later. So A. He's pretty much the exact same as Ogma. He has slightly better growth rates in most stats except for defense. His defense growth is just worse. He only has 10% defense instead of Ogma's 20%. And his bases are a little bit lower. But his growth rates are better than Ogma's and pretty much everything else. Like 90 HP, 50 strength, 40 skill, 30 weapon level, 50 speed, 40 luck. He starts with a Killing Edge, which was one of the best swords in the game. He's locked to swords. He's in Mercenary class, which is one of the best classes in the game. Navarre is just really good. He's basically like another Ogma. They're very interchangeable. You can use both of them, and they won't really vary. They'll only vary like in stat, in like 1 to 2 points in every stat. If you get unlucky with Ogma, you have Navarre. If you get unlucky with Navarre, you have Ogma. You can use both of them. It doesn't really matter. They're both really solid units. There's not much to say about it. Everything I said about Ogma applies to Navarre, and everything I say about Navarre basically applies to Ogma. There is one thing though. Navarre has starts on a 9 weapon level, so he can just use Silver Swords at base, while Ogma needs to level up a bit to be able to use them. But that's it. There's no real major difference between these two. I don't know which one is better. I would say probably Ogma is overall better because he has slightly better bases and the stats, while Navarre is a little bit reliant on growth rates, but like, it's whatever. They're both the same unit. It doesn't really matter. They're both A tier. They're both A tier. All right, next we have Mathis. Mathis, he's kind of a joke. He's kind of a joke unit. He's kind of a meme. So Mathis, he's a Cavalier that joins in Chapter 4. You have to talk to him with Lena, which is a pain in the ass, because Mathis is a giant dumbass and will attack and kill his sister. So it is a giant pain in the ass to get Lena, the 5 movement cleric, in range to recruit him without Mathis either killing her or killing himself. Base stat wise, his bases are okay. 8 weapon level is nice. 7 defense is good. His HP is bad. 16 HP at this point is bad. 5 strength is not great. 2 skill is bad. 6 speed is whatever. Growth rate wise, his speed is bad. 20% of speed is abysmal. 20 luck is whatever. 30 skill is okay. 70 weapon level, so he'll be able to use Gradivu and all that if you want to train him. 20% defense is just average for physical units. 40% strength is okay. 30%, I mean, 40% strength is good. 30% skill is okay. 50 HP is whatever. Mathis is, like, really saved just by being in Cavalier, Paladin. He really is just, like... He's saved by being in one of the best classes of the game. But he's not very good. I'd say he's, like, a high C unit. He's one of the worst Cavaliers in the game. There's no real reason to use him over... Oh, no, I'd say he's bottom of B. He's along with his sister. Mathis is a bad Cavalier, but being a bad Cavalier is still, like, better than half the cast. So, Like, there's no reason to use him over any other Cavalier, but, like, he's still a Cavalier. I might change my mind and put him in high C, but, like, he's a Cavalier. He can't really go lower than B. No, you know what? He's a pain in the ass to recruit. You're going in C, buddy. Fuck you. You're going in C, Mathis. You can go rot in there. He's probably the worst Cavalier just because he's the biggest pain in the ass to recruit. But, like, he's a Cavalier. He'll do decent. No, you know what? Bottom of B. Yeah, he's... whatever. No, you know what? Fuck you. You're going back you're going back in C. I'm, like, going back and forth. No, he's going in C. He's top of C. I don't think he's any lower than that because he is just a paladin, but he's definitely one of the worst paladins. Like, there's no real reason to use him over Abel, Kane, Harden, Aaron, Midia. Like, no, like he's like 6th in line for like paladin, and he's not better than Jagan, so he's 7th at best. And I'm pretty sure he's worse than either one of Rocher or Violin, so he's like 8th. But you could also just field 8 paladins. It's not a good idea, but you can do it if you want to. But, like, yeah. He's like C. Top of C. I don't think he's any better than that, but I don't think he's any worse than that. Yeah, Mathis, not great. Alright, Merrick. I'm gonna be bold here. I think Merrick deserves S. I know that's kind of crazy, but, like, is that kind of crazy? I think he deserves S. Yeah, I think I'm going to put Merrick in S. Probably the best magic user in this game. I think almost certainly best magic user in this game. Where's Merrick? Where's Merrick? There he is. Yeah, Merrick's S. I think he's S. Magic is weird in this game. So how magic works in this game, right, is like mages, there is no magic stat in this game. There's only strength for mages, which does absolutely nothing for them. So how does magic damage work? Well, tomes do set damage. Basically, a tome's might is how much damage it's doing to an enemy. Because nobody has a resistance stat in this game unless they use a talisman. And there's no resistance growth. So basically, magic does set damage. And Merrick has a tome exclusive to him called Excalibur, which has one of the highest mights in the game. I think there's only 3 tomes that have... Well, there's like 4 tomes that have more might than him. Swarm, that have more might than Excalibur. Swarm, which has 16 might. Aura, which has, I think, 20. Or like 15. Like an insane amount of might. Imulu, which is Garnif exclusive, and Starlight, which you use to kill Garnif to negate Imulu. So he basically starts off with Excalibur, which is a 13 might tome that has 33 uses, so a lot of uses, and has a high crit rate. So he has one of the highest damage outputs of any mage at base. Base stat wise, he has good speed. His weapon level really doesn't matter, but like it starts at 5, so he can use Blizzard that he also has. His max HP is actually pretty good at 20 starting HP. He does have 4 defense. He does actually promote in this game. Mages do promote into bishops. So he does have a promotion, although the promotion doesn't do anything for him, spoiler alert, except increase his strength to 3, which does fucking nothing, but... Which does fucking nothing. Sorry, I forgot the mic was over here. I was doing it on the other side, but yeah. Yeah. So, growth rate-wise, his growth rates are pretty good. He has 80 HP, which is insane. He has 50 speed and luck, 80% weapon level, and then 30 skill, 20% defense. So he has a really good... He pretty much is guaranteed to cap weapon level, so he'll be able to use every tome in the game. That's not exclusive, which is basically just aura. And every staff in the game once he promotes, because he's the best candidate for the first bishop ring outside of, like, Linda. He's basically the only candidate outside of Linda, let's be real. He has a pretty good chance of capping speed, since it's just a coin flip, and he has 39 levels, so pretty good chance of capping speed. His defense has a decent chance of growing. It's basically equivalent to bulk, like, regular units, so he'll get up to like a pretty good decent amount of defense. And bishop also boosts him to 8 defense, so if he doesn't gain defense and you promote him, he goes up to 8 and regardless, so which is pretty good. Overall, Merrick, I think, is one of the best units in the game. Excalibur is just really good. It just deletes bosses and enemies. It deletes pretty much every boss and enemy, especially if it crits. If it crits, it just one-shots basically everything. Except I think like super late game stuff. He will be surprisingly bulky later on because of his really high HP growth. So he will be a really good anti-mage unit because he'll just be able to tank him with his HP. And he even turns out pretty like physically bulky as well. And with his high speed, he basically will never get doubled. Which means he'll be doing two magic hits, which means more crit, and magic crits are basically like an insta-kill because they do set damage. So yeah, and he can use basically every staff and tome in the game once he promotes. Well, he can use pretty much every tome in the game in his base class with how high his weapon level growth is, and then like when he promotes, he can use basically every staff in the game. So yeah, really, really good. Because you only need like 10 weapon level to use every staff in the game, so it's like he can use everything. So yeah, S tier. I think he's like, it's a weird S tier, but I think overall Merrick is one of the best units to put investment into because like Excalibur can just delete so many bosses or rough enemies. So it's just like, yeah, really good. And I think also Excalibur does bonus damage to flyers. So he's even one of your best candidates for dealing with flyers other than bow users. So yeah, really, really, really good unit. All right, next is Roshea. Roshea. What to say about Roshea? Worst Cavalier in the game? Looking at these growth rates, yeah, worst Cavalier in the game. God damn, that's abysmal. Okay. Base stat wise, he's not even that bad. Level 3, 7 speeds, defense, and weapon level aren't bad. 6 strength is a little bit low. 18 HP is okay. 4 luck, 5 skills, whatever. Growth rate wise, it's not looking good. 80 HP, 40 strength, 50 skill. Those are the only good ones. 30 weapon level is not great, but he starts with 7, so he'll get to Silver Sword, and that's all he really needs. 10 speed, 10 luck, 10 defense. Really abysmal. He's never going to gain speed, and he's never going to gain defense, so he's never really going to be bulky. He's kind of a good anti-magic Cavalier with his high HP, but that's about it. Every mage is going to double him, though, and then, like, if they crit, there goes his whole health advantage, so yeah. I'd say he's worth the Mathis. I'd say he's best C. Roshea is just the worst Cavalier in the game, which is saying something with how many you get. He's just not good, man. Like, there's no real reason to use him is the thing. Where is he? Is this supposed to be Roshea? I think it is. No, that's Caesar. Oh, that's rad. Where's Shea? There he is. Yeah, he's C. He's worse than Mathis. I think he's better than all the other C2 units because he is a Cavalier, but, like, there's no reason to use him. He's, like, 9th in a list of, like, he's, like, 9th on the Cavalier list. Why the would you ever use him over any other Cavalier? Like, he's only getting C because he's a Paladin. And 10 move Paladin, like, at least he gets C tier, but like, he's not getting any better than that. He does get one-rounded on the starting map. He can get one-rounded, so, yeah. He's pretty bad. So, yeah, C. Next is Violent. Violent. So Violent, he's level 1 at this point. So he has worse bases than Roshea. Oh. Oh, he's abysmal. Wow, he's just as bad. Okay, you know what I'm starting to do? Okay, Mathis, you've jumped up to B tier. Roshea and Violent are going down in C. Although I could have kept that portrait because Violent is the exact same portrait as Mathis for some reason. Where are they? Where's this portrait? Did they not fucking add it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, he's C. God, this unit's bad. Okay, so base stat wise, he's just worse Roshea. I mean, he just started at level 1, so his weapon level stats are okay. 4 weapon level is abysmal though for this point in the game, and 16 HP is also really bad. And then you look at his growth rates: 50 HP, 30 strength, 10 skill, 10 luck, 10 defense, 20 speed, 70 weapon level. This is a bad unit. You know what? I'm gonna actually put him in D. There's no reason to use Violent. I'm gonna put him in D. He's bad. Roshea, I could see the niche case to use him if, like, you really wanted a decent Cavalier and you wanted a bulky, like, anti-magic Cavalier, but, like, fuck me, dude. Like, what were they thinking? They were not cooking with this man. They were fucking not cooking at all. I'd say he's D. There's no reason to use him. He is the worst Cavalier in this game. And the reason why I'm putting him in D is not because of his class. He is in one of the best classes in the game. He is in Paladin. But there is no reason to use him when there are, like, not 8 other units in the same class that are better than him. Including 5 of which you get in the fucking, like, at the same point as him. 6 if you include Jagan. Like, there's no point to use him. Like, even if you are that desperate on units, just use, like, anyone else. Like, you have so many units that are just better. So it's like, there's no reason to use him. I think he gets D just because of that. Yeah, really, really bad. One of the worst units in the game, I would say. His only saving grace is he's in the Cavalier class. So if you wanted to use him for some whatever reason, he can become a Paladin. And, you know, the promo gains might actually do something for him. But he'll just be a shitty Paladin, so whatever. Alright, next is Sedgar. Sedgar. This is not your Shadow Dragon Sedgar. This is a pretty... sorry. Sedgar is pretty bad. I'm going to be blunt. Sedgar is pretty bad in this game. I would rate him like D. Sedgar's pretty bad in this game. I don't like him. Sedgar is the first horseman you get, and he is one of only 2 horsemen you get. In Shadow Dragon, this is the promoted version of a hunter. In this game, though, horsemen are just a solitary class that you only get 2 of, and that you see enemy versions of, but that's it. It's not considered promoted or whatever. It's just a class. Sedgar, though, is pretty bad. I'd say he's like D. He's up there with... He's right there with Gordon. His utility is that he is a 9-move archer, but his base stats are horrendous for this point in the game. 16 HP, 7... His only good base is 7 speed. All the rest of his bases are bad. 4 strength, 2 luck, 4 defense, 3 skill, 3 weapon level. He can only basically... He can barely use a steel bow that he starts with that also weighs him down significantly to the point where he gets one-rounded by every enemy. I'm pretty sure he gets one-rounded by every enemy in his starting map. He definitely gets one-rounded by the Pegasus Knights that start on his side of the map. Growth rate-wise, his only good growth rate is HP at 90%. The rest of his growth rates are bad. 30% strength and 30% weapon level are the best. The rest are 20 to 10. 10% speed on 7 base speed, not good enough. He'll only go up to 9 on average, which, no. There is a utility of, like, he's a 9-move archer, but his stats are just way too bad. His growth rates aren't good enough to compensate. He's just, the other problem is he's just inferior to Wolf in every way. So if you wanted a horseman, you just use Wolf. You don't need both of them. You don't really need more than one bow user in this game. And he's just a bad unit. I almost want to put him in F, but I think the 9 move does save him more than it should. So I think he does go up to, like, D, but, like, that's it, man. He's just bad in this game. He's just bad in this game. It sucks, because, like, it's a cool design point, but, like, man, is he just fucking horrendous. Alright, next is Wolf, who is actually way better, because he actually has base stats. And we used him in my Iron Man as my main Parthia user, because everyone else fucking died, including everyone else in Harden's squad. Sorry. Base stat wise, he's a lot better. He starts at level 3, so he has actual bases. He has 2 speed, 2 HP, like basically 2 points on everything. He has 3 extra in weapon level, which is huge. Growth rate wise, he has lower HP and then better in everything else. Oh, he actually has lower skill as well, but like 5 is fine. Wolf has 70 HP, 50 strength, 60 weapon level, 20 speed, 70 luck, 20 defense. His speed and skill are not great, don't get me wrong, but like 9 base is a lot more salvageable. 9 base and 20% is a lot more salvageable than 10% and 7. It's still bad, but it's a lot more salvageable. And plus, as his 60% weapon level growth, he is the first bow user that could reasonably get to Parthia through grinding, through like training. He is the first bow user that could reasonably get to Parthia. And he does have 9 move, which is useful. So I think overall he is like a B tier unit. I think he is, because having 9 move is nice. Having 9 move is nice. He's like a lower B tier. Having 9 move is nice. His bases are good enough that he doesn't get one-rounded, so he can get experience on his starting map. And he will quickly get a lot of strength to like be able to do a lot of damage. He will suffer in the speed department, but he is a Parthia user. He's one of, I think, like 2 to 3 viable Parthia users. Because Castor ain't never getting it. Segre definitely ain't ever getting it. Gordon takes fucking forever to get it. And I used him as a Parthia user, and he was pretty alright. So I give him a B. He's solid. He's not horrendous, and it does take a while for him to get going, but like, he can just be he's a serviceable filler unit if you need it. And he can be a backup Parthia user if your George doesn't turn out well or dies, or your caster never gets enough weapon level, or your Gordon just doesn't, you don't use Gordon or Tomas. Yeah, he's just alright. I think he's B. Yeah, just solid. He's like good. I think he's definitely saved by having 9 move. If he didn't have 9 move, he'd be C for sure. But yeah. All right, next is Harden. Oh, this is this is good. This is gonna be an easy one. Easy fucking top of S tier. Harden is arguably the best unit in the game. Period. His bases are ridiculous. 20 HP, 9 strength, 8 speed and defense, 9 weapon level. He can use pretty much every sword and lance in the game outside of Gradivu at base. 7 skill. His growth rates are really good across the board. 50 skill, 70 weapon level, 60 speed, 50 HP, 30 strength, 30 luck, 20 defense. Great growth rates. No problems there. His strength is a little bit low, but like 30% is still serviceable. He can use a silver sword at base that you get at the end of chapter 4. At the end of chapter 5, sorry. He'll grow. He pretty much will grow into a really good unit. He's arguably, he will most likely be better than Cain and Abel at the time he joins, and he grows pretty much just as well as they do. He will, late game, he will be worse statistically on average, but like for the early to mid game, he will be on par or about the same as them, and he is in one of the best classes in the game. And he does have a higher weapon rank, so he does get to use silver swords at base, which Cain might struggle with and Abel might not have at that point. So, yeah, overall, he's really, really broken. Harden, one of the best units in the game. I stupidly lost him because I didn't realize the dude had a devil axe and it took, like, all of his health. But, like, yeah. Harden's the best. Like, I don't think I need to downplay how fucking amazing Harden is. He is probably the best candidate for the first Paladin proof. It's like competing between him, Cain, and Abel, so they're all kind of competing for it. But like honestly, you can use him, Cain, and Abel, and that's all you really need for Paladins for like most of the game. He will carry you. He's just really, 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 really good. He's basically kind of like a second Jagan. His bases are on par pretty much with Jagan's. So, and you get, which you get 4 chapters later, which is just insane. So like, yeah. Easy S tier for Harden. I don't think there's any other tier Harden can go other than S, because he's just that good. All right, next is Wendell. Wendell, we're gonna put an A. I think Wendell's pretty good in this game. That's Boa. Yeah, Wendell I think is A. I think he's a solid A. I don't think he's B. Wendell's growth rates are... He actually does have growth rates in this game, unlike in other games. 60 HP, 70 weapon level, and then 40 luck are his main growth rates. His speed is like... His strength doesn't matter. It's 10%, but it doesn't fucking matter for him. His defense is 10%, which does kind of suck, but on average he'll get 1 to 2 points, which will boost him up to 10. His skill is like okay, but like his skill doesn't affect magic accuracy in this game, so his skill is basically doesn't matter. His skill doesn't matter for him; it just affects his crit rate. And then he has 20% speed. Base stat wise, his base stats are great. The only ones that matter are like there's only like 4 base stats that matter for him, and all of his base stats and those are great. He starts off with 10 weapon levels, so he can use every staff in the game and pretty much every tome in the game. I think he can use literally every tome in the game as well. His max HP is 22, which is good enough for most of the game. And his growth rate is 60%, so he will, on average, get more HP. So, it's good. His base speed of 14 is insane. He actually has enough speed to last him for the entire game. Ironically enough, apparently, he only needs 1 speed proc to be able to 1-round Garneth with Starlight. Which he, on average, will get because he has a 20% growth. So he will, on average, get that if you use him. His 8 defense is also really nice. It makes him quite physically bulky in the early to mid game. Late game, he will get... You really don't want him to see combat in terms of with physical users late game. Because 8 defense isn't good enough late game. But like early to mid game, it's good enough. Then he won't take much damage. He comes with a barrier and a thunder staff. Quick note on the barrier staff. It does have a glitch where if you use it and then use a talisman on a unit that has the barrier staff put on them, the talisman won't be used up, but you will get a permanent increase to your resistance. Because through some weird NES jank coding. So he technically is a way to get infinite resistance on your characters. But I'm not really counting glitches in terms of like how you rank him. Wendell is pretty good. He is a pre-promote that can be used, that is great great when he joins and can be used throughout the entire game with no downsides, really. There's no real downside to not using Wendell. I mean, you pretty much want to give kills to other units, but, like, you can give him experience here and there, and he'll gain some stats. He'll gain stats, which is, like, better than other pre-promotes like Jagan and all that. And he'll become a great unit. Like, he's just a great unit throughout the entire game. There's very little downsides to him. I'd say his only downside is that, like, late game, he's not super bulky, so Merrick and, like, a trained Linda will definitely outclass him. But he can hold his own throughout the entire game, which I think is really good. I don't think he's S, because I think he does fall off late game in terms of bulk. So he will become a little bit of a liability if you try to, like, use him for combat. But, like, I'd say he's definitely, like, a high A. Like, he's, like, solid throughout the entire game. I don't think there's any downside to not using Wendell. He's just a solid A unit. Having access to every staff in the game that's not hammering also really helps him, because he can become a really good healer. Staves in this game don't, like, have set healing, though. So, because, like, magic doesn't exist. So it is unfortunate that, like, he can't benefit from, like, healing more than, like... So he doesn't heal any more than Lena. So that is the one unfortunate thing, is that they heal the same despite him being a pre-promote and her being a basic class unit. But, like, yeah, really good. A tier. Alright, I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Hello. I am back from the bathroom. Yeah, we just got done with Wendell, so let's go to the next unit. Rickard. Oh, Rickard. Yeah, Rickard's going in D at best. Bottom of D. So Rickard, he is the second to and last thief you get in the game, and he is basically just he's a worse Julian. You know what? I'm gonna put Rickard in F. There's no, like, Rickard's pretty bad in this game. He is simply a worse Julian in every single way, base stat wise. Base stat wise, growth rate wise, he's just worse than Julian. There's no reason to bring him. If you have Julian, there's no reason to use Rickard. Like, straight up, there's zero reason to use Rickard. There's never a point in the game where you need Marth, Julian, and Rickard all on the same map going for chests or going for unlockables. So there's no real point to using more than one thief. The only reason you ever use Rickard, if, like me, you got Julian killed and Rickard is your only thief, then you use Rickard. Otherwise, you're never using Rickard. He's just not good. I'm sorry. He's just, like, inferior to Julian, and Julian is already in a class that's not good. So, like, being a, like, shittier Julian just, like, forces you into F tier. I'm sorry. He's just not good. There's no point in using him. There's no point in using Julian. If Julian is alive, you're never using Rickard. So he's F tier. Sorry. I don't see him as being good. Using any use. Alright, next is Bantu. The man who gets nerfed in every subsequent game, even though he doesn't deserve it. Oh, my boy Bantu. Bantu is... I'm going to be surprising here. I think Bantu is actually pretty solid in this game. I'm going to rate him in B. Bantu is pretty solid in this game. Actually, yeah, I'll rate Bantu in B. Bantu is pretty solid. Now you might be, let me look at him in his base stats and go like, wow, those base stats are horrendous. And they are. They're really bad. Except for movement, which is 6. And then you look at his growth rates and wow, he only has growth rates in HP, skill, and luck. And they're only 10% in each of those. That's really bad. And you're right. But what Bantu has is he has a Manakee, so he can use the Firestone exclusively to him. And the Firestone in this game is pretty good. Let me see how much might it has. So the Firestone in this game has 16 might, and gives him plus 12 defense. So he actually has 18 damage and 15 defense, which for that point in the game and for quite a few chapters is really, really good. He will be the tankiest unit you have physically. He will be the most. I can't speak anymore. He will be the physically bulkiest, the bulkiest unit in terms of physical defense you will have for pretty much most of the game until you get Tiki, or until your paladins start getting like up into like the mid to higher 20s. Bantu is basically a wall. He's basically a physical wall, and he's pretty good at it. He can choke points. He's really good at choking the point on the Minerva recruiting chapter. And he can be used to stall some other like units and get rid of some and like tank some physical units that are pretty scary. Now he does fall off. He falls off hard. Once enemies start like having actual like combat and start like, he will like, his tankiness completely disappears past a certain point in the game. But he does have infinite use of his Firestone as well. So there is that. So he does have a unique thing that is exclusive to him. So I think that does put him in B because he is serviceable for a good portion of the game. He will fall off, but I think he is probably the best physical tank and does a lot better than any of the fucking knights in this game, which is hilarious. He's basically a better version of a knight. But yeah, I think he's low B. Yeah, I don't think he's any higher because he is your best physical tank, much better than like the knight class that are supposed to be physical tanks. But I don't think he gets any higher than B because he does fall off pretty hard. But yeah, I think Bantu was pretty alright in the first game. There was also I also have to mention there is apparently a glitch with Bantu where if you use a dragon shield with him, I think you can get an infinite dragon shield. Or you can get infinite defense with them. With like the Draco shield, because the Draco shield doesn't get used when you use it as Bantu. You use it with Bantu or something like that. I'm not entirely 100% sure. Someone told me about it and I'm not. But yeah, anyway, low B. I don't think he gets any lower than low B. I might be rating him a little bit too high. He probably deserves C, but like, I like Bantu. It's the highest rank he's ever going to get in any one of these Fire Emblem games, to be fair. So yeah, B. All right, Caesar and Rad. Yeah, Caesar. Sorry. Yeah, he's bad. Yeah, so Caesar's like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna do it. Caesar, he's like a C tier. Saved by the fact he's a mercenary. He's just worse Ogma and Navarre. His base stats are pretty bad outside of like speed, defense. Speed and defense are pretty good. The rest and skill, the rest are kind of bad. His growth rates are pretty bad. 80% HP is his best. The rest is 30 or lower. So 20% speed is rough, is really rough, and so is 20% defense. I mean, 20% defense is good for physical units, but like 20% speed is rough, especially for a unit like that who wants speed. And also 5 strength and starting with 5 strength and 30% growth is not good either. So yeah, he's like C. He's like, if Ogma and Navarre are dead, he's a like okay replacement, but like he's nowhere near as good as those two. Yeah. So yeah, C. I don't think he's any higher than C. And then we have Rad, the other mercenary. A lot better growth rates. I think Rad is actually like B. I'm gonna be honest. I think Rad is B with those growth rates. Now he is worse base stat wise, but he does start at level 1 with 50 strength, 50 weapon level, 70 speed. I mean, 50 strength, like he gets to 10, he'll have on average like 10 strength, which is pretty good. I mean, he only has a 10% defense growth, but like that's like equal to Navarre, and Navarre has the same base defense, so like I think Rad's B. I think he's a perfectly okay mercenary. Like, if you want to train him, he's a pretty good trainee product. I don't see him being as bad as all. I didn't use him, but like, because I already had Ogma and Navarre at that point, but like, he's like B. He's pretty solid. There's nothing bad about him. I think he's like B. Solid. He's like solid. I think I might move Marth to A. Yeah, because Marth is kind of like above them, so yeah. Red's okay. I think he's definitely like a training product mercenary, so he's definitely worse than Ogma and Navarre by like a whole tier. But like, I think if you want to invest into him as like a hero, he's not bad. His growth rates are probably the best out of the heroes. Yeah, they're like equivalent to Navarre's pretty much. He's probably much like a Navarre light. Yeah. Alright, and then we got Roger. Roger. Roger Dodger. Roger. He has 13 base defense, so he has higher base defense than Drog. But 5 speed and 20% speed growth. Yeah, no, he's like D. Sorry, Roger. 13 base defense is good, but like, and 70% HP is good. 22 HP is fine. 50 strength with 7 base is pretty good. 9 weapon level, he can use silver lances and silver swords. Although, why would you? 40% weapon level, you can maybe get Gradiville if you want to. 20% speed, 10% defense are both abysmal. Yeah, Roger's just stuck as a knight. And knight just sucks in this game, unfortunately, because no promotion and 5 movement, and also being weak to all the armor weapons. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Well, he's really also held back just by his bad speed. 5 speed means he will never double anyone in this game, and he will get doubled by everyone if he wants to wield any like good weapons. Yeah, he's just bad. Oh, he also just has really bad skill as well, so his accuracy is ass. I want to translate that. Yeah, no. Yeah, he's like D. If you want an Armor Knight, Drog, if you train Drog, will probably be equivalent or better than him in most areas, especially in speed. Probably not in strength, but speed for sure. So Drog can actually, like, do more damage overall, probably. So yeah, D. I don't think there's any real reason to use Roger. I think he's definitely better than Dolph and McKellen. But, like, there's no reason to use Roger at all, unfortunately. Even if you were like, he has 13 base defense, so I want to use that as a tank, like, there's, like, you have Bantu, who's just a better physical tank than he will ever be. And if you're using Cord is just going to be a better physical tank as well. So, like, yeah. Alright, now we got George. George is... I'm torn on George. Because I think on paper, George is the archer for this game. But I think especially when I used him, he's not very good. I will say George is probably the best bow user. So I think he is better than Wolf. So I think if I'm putting Wolf in B, I have to put George in B. Higher than Wolf. Um, George is a sniper that joins at Chapter 9. His base stats are pretty alright. 10 skill is great. 10 weapon level is fine. 12 speed is pretty good. 24 HP. 7 strength, 8 defense. They're fine. His growth rates are bad. He only has really 2. 60% HP, 50% weapon level. The others are 20% or below, so they're very rarely going to proc, if at all. He does have 7 move, which is nice. He can use every bow at base except Parthia, which he needs 2 procs. He needs 2 procs to get in terms of weapon level. Oh no, he needs 3 procs. So you need to win 3 coin flips to be able to use Parthia, which like can happen, but you can also get unlucky like me and have him be level 7 and only have like 11 weapon level, which, you know, is not great. George is basically like the Parthia user for the game. He is the unit that requires the least amount of investment to get Parthia. And then when he has Parthia, he can pretty much run around the things you need Parthia to one round with. So he's alright. I mean, he's just the Parthia user for this game. He's the easiest one to get to, and that's alright. Like, having a Parthia user is nice, but I don't think it's like anything like super spectacular, because Parthia only has 17 uses. Parthia only has 17 uses in this game, and you only get it after chapter 12. And unless you're putting the star sphere on your Parthia user, you don't get many uses out of it, or you're using hammering on it a lot. And also Parthia weighs you down quite a bit, so his one other good base, his speed, will get like severely lowered because of Parthia, which does stink. So yeah, B. He's okay. He's like one of the 2 like arguably like easy to get Parthia users outside of like, it's like him and Wolf. Like Gordon's too bad, Tomas is Tomas, and Segur is abysmal, and Castor just like he needs the manual like 100%, and then he maybe still won't get it. So yeah. He's like alright. He's good, but like not great. Alright, Maria. I mean, she has more HP than Lena, and I think more bulk than Lena to start off with. She can't use hammering, but she can use basically every staff in the game, and she has a 70% weapon level, so she has a high chance to get up to 10 if you want to train her if you somehow get her levels, which means she gets to use every staff in the game not named hammering. She's basically just Lena 2.0. There's no real difference between the 2 of them. I'll put her in C only because, like, if you want to use Maria, like, she's there. She can use pretty much every staff at base. And if you could somehow get, like, levels on her, it's not hard to get her to 10, and then she has access to every staff in the game, and then that's it. So she's just a staff bot. That's it. She's not anything else. She's worse than Lena because she doesn't get hammering access, but she's definitely better than Rise because she can use physic and all that at base. And warp, so I don't think there's any real reason to field ever more than like 2 staff users outside of like more than like Lena and like a bishop like Wendell as your staff users, but like she's there. Plus she can recruit Minerva, so like yeah. See, there's not much to talk about with Maria. She's just a staff bot. I don't know, what more do you want me to say? Her growth rates don't matter because she won't get levels. Her stats don't really matter. Yeah. Now let's talk about a fun unit, Minerva. Minerva is the first Wyvern Knight you get. The only recruitable Wyvern, the only pre-promoted Wyvern Knight you get. Not the, and then you get the Pegasus Knights, but she's the first pre-promote. Base stat wise, her bases are really good. I'd say her her bad bases are skill and the speed. 3 skill is really bad, and then 6 speed is also not great for this point. And then her HP is also a little bit low at 22. If it was like 24 or 25, it'd be in a much better spot, but like that's not great. But 14 defense is outstanding. And 9 strength, although these are the class bases for Wyvern Knight, they're both like 9 strength and 14 defense are both amazing base stat wise. Growth rate wise, her growth rates are good across the board. 20% defense is like standard for physical units. And with her base of 14, she'll on average get up to like 18 defense, 17, 18 defense, which is really, really good. Her other growth rates are pretty good. Her strength is a little bit low at 30%, but she starts with 9, so it's fine. Her weapon level is 70%. She'll max out her weapon level pretty handily. She has a high chance to. Or basically she has a high chance to get Gradivu really easily because it's 14 and that's the best you get in terms of weapon level with lances. She can use swords, best weapon type. She can use Gradivu really easily. She'll quickly get out of her speed and skill hole with 50% skill, 40% speed. She is one of the better candidates for the skill book or a speed boosting item just to get her out of her speed hole of 6 so that she starts doubling. That's what I did. I used the first speed ring on her to get her to 10 speed. And then she just kind of like started like zoom in. I will say her HP is a little bit low, but she is also one of the best candidates for a Seraphro because of her base defense being so high. Overall, Minerva is one of your best units. She's one of your best physical tanks. Draco Knight is an insane class. She can basically use every weapon she would ever want to. Yeah, I'd say she's A. Like, she's easily one of the better units in the game. She's definitely not S, because I think her base speed and skill leave a little bit to be desired. And her base HP as well, but, like, easy A tier. Like, easy A. Being in one of the best classes in the game solidifies that, and she has amazing bases in in just the right areas for her join time that is very easy for her to get experience to patch up her weaknesses. And she's one of the few, and like the speed ring isn't really needed on anyone. Like, no one really needs the speed ring. No one really like super needs the speed ring outside of Jagan. So like you can just give the speed ring to Minerva because pretty much everyone else will cap speed regardless. Like Marth will cap speed, Merrick will cap speed. The 3 best Cavaliers will definitely cap speed. Sita 100% will. Agma and Navarre will basically cap speed. Yeah. And that's basically it. And then everyone else is just like whatever. So yeah, A tier unit. Really good. Alright, next is Linda. Now, unfortunately, I wanted to use Linda in my Iron Man, but she died because I didn't realize an Armor Knight would move. Which sucks. She is the second mage you get in the game. She's the only other mage you get, base mage. She comes with an exclusive tome like Merrick called Aura. Aura is not as good as Excalibur, but it does have the highest might in the game at 20. It unfortunately weighs her down by 7, so she effectively has 0 speed. With Aura at base, which does suck. And that's the only tome she starts with. Although she does start in a chapter, she does start right next to a bunch of shops where she can buy like lower tier magic tomes that give her some speed. Base stat wise, her base stats for a level 1 mage are pretty good. 20 HP, 7 speed, 7 luck, 7 weapon level. 3 defense is a little bit low, but whatever. Skill doesn't matter on a mage. Growth rate wise, her growth rates are insane. The only bad one is defense at 20%, which is again equivalent to all your physical units. And plus promo to Bishop gives her up to 8. So even if she doesn't proc it, like she promotes, she goes up to 8, and then she has a chance to get up. She on average will get 12, which is good. She's very likely to cap pretty much all her stats except strength and defense, since she has a 70% in basically everything. She'll quickly be able to use every tome in the game, every staff in the game when she promotes. 60 speed is great. She'll very quickly start, like, once she starts leveling up, she'll very quickly start doubling. And since magic is set damage, she'll very quickly start deleting units, especially if she starts getting crits with her high skill. If luck was a better stat, if luck did more, I would say like 80% luck is really good, but 80% being in luck is just unfortunate because luck doesn't really do anything. Overall, I'd say Linda is like definitely like an A tier unit. I think she's only held back by the fact she's a little bit squishy to start off with, and her tome does weigh her down to 0 speed, unfortunately. But Linda is in a mage class. Mages are good in this game. She's not as good as Merrick. Let's get off the table right now. She's nowhere near as good as Merrick because she requires more investment at a later point. At the stage she's in, she requires more investment to get going than Merrick does. And she shows up like, what, like chapter 11, so like 7 chapters later than Merrick. But I would say she is just, like, late game, she is just as good as Merrick, and her aura is a nuke that will delete pretty much anyone. Especially, like, if she crits with aura, like, the enemy's just gone. No enemy can survive an aura crit. Except, I think, Garneth and Medius. I believe. I believe. And I don't, like, those are the only 2 units that can survive an aura crit in the game. Everyone else, and, like, mage dragons, technically, but they don't take damage from magic, so that doesn't matter. Everything else gets deleted because nothing has 68 near 60 HP. So like, yeah, she's really, really good. But I think she only gets put in A because she requires that little bit of it. She does require you to put the effort forth to give her investment. And if you don't want to do that, she's just going to be like a 20 damage and that's it kind of unit. And then you kind of just like whatever. But I do think she is one of the better units in this game because she is in mage, which can promote. The only person she competes, and she competes for a promo item that only one other person is competing with her, and that's Merrick. So basically it's her and Merrick that are competing for the first bishop ring. And you can get a second one fairly quickly after the first one, so it's not like not promoting one significantly hurts the other. It kind of hurts, but like it's perfectly fine to promote Merrick first and then wait till like a secret shop later on to promote Linda, because they'll basically have very similar stats. So like, yeah. Their stats late game are pretty much going to be the same. I'd say the only thing is like Excalibur is a better tome, so Merrick is just better. But like Linda is no slouch either, I think, and that needs to be. I think that needs to be recognized. All right, so Linda's done. All right, and now we go from one of the better units to one of the absolute dog shit. Let's go, Jake. I'm going to be super blunt here, guys. Jake is going in F. Jake is going straight into F tier. That's not Jake, that's back. Yeah, Jake is going straight into F tier. Jake is one of 2 ballisticians in this game, and you might be thinking, oh, ballisticians, they're broke as all hell in Shadow Dragon. In the first game, they are literally the worst unit type to be in the game. Basically, what ballisticians are 4-move archers that have unique archer bow weapons that only have 2 range. They don't have 3 to 1. They don't have 3 to 10 range like they do in Shadow Dragon. And they're just bulky physically. That's it. They are the worst class in the game. They are basically, if you've played Turing Saga, they're basically the tanks. And the tanks in that game are also horrendous. Growth rate wise, as you can see, Jake is like, he's got 50 HP, 50 luck, 50 skill, 50 weapon level. Pretty okay strength, but his base is 5, so like not great. 20 speed and then 10% defense. Now, to be fair, his base defense of 14 is good, but it's still worse than Bantu, who we got like 4 chapters before this guy, and Bantu has 2 more move and can deal more damage on average because he has 18 damage with his Dragon Stone, which has infinite uses, by the way. Now Beck does have unique. Jake and Beck, the other ballistician, both have unique weapons unique to them, like the arrow spates and all that. But there's no real reason to use them because they're never really going to see combat with how low they move. Even if you're turtling, there's no real reason to use them because, like, what's the point? They can't attack at one range. So their physical bulk doesn't really matter. It's nice if they take hits, but, like, their speed is also abysmal, and they get weighed down by every single bow in the game. So they effectively have 0 speed. So they're never killing anything without significant help. So it's like, they're not good. I'm sorry, but ballisticians are the worst class in the game by, like, a pretty fair margin, and, like, there's no reason to use Jacob back. If you want to, they're, like, the special ballista they have access to aren't good enough to use them because they'll never get to the enemies fast enough to use it very well. And even if you're moving slow, there's no real reason to use them because, like, if you're going slow, you might as well use a different archer that can, like, go places. I don't know. I mean, I think they're, like, a funny, like, meme unit, but, like, I don't know. I don't think they're very useful. I mean, if you're going slow like I usually do, like, yeah, they'll see use here and there, like, if you're turtling and all that, and not, like, you're not really, obviously, if you're not carrying, you just, like, move them and all that. But I think even then, it's like, what do you get? You get a bow unit that attacks once on anything, on any unit, because their speed is always going to be pretty much 0. And they have, their strength isn't even good either. He starts with 5 strength, and he has a 30% growth. He's not going to gain enough strength to one round anything except maybe Pegasus Knights. But, like, you don't want to give him the Pegasus Knights because, like, other units use it better. I don't know. Also, he has 1 skill, so his accuracy is abysmal as well. And while he has a 50% growth, it's a coin flip when you're starting at 1. And ballisticians can't promote. So at max, he only has 19 levels. So at max, he's going to have, like, not even 10 skill. Alright, yeah. That's back. One of the worst units in the game. Shadow, yeah, one of the worst units in the game. Just Jake is bad. Alright, we're getting near the end. Dolph. What to talk about Dolph? Sorry. So Dolph, he is a knight that joins in chapter 12. He starts with no weapons. Growth rate wise, he's got good HP, good weapon level. Okay to bad everything else. He's got 12 defense and he's got a 20% defense growth. So he might go up to like 14. His portrait is funny looking with the buck tooth, with the weird tooth thing. But like, he's a knight. His growth rates are pretty good, honestly. Like, his growth rates are really good for his join time. Like, much better than the other armor knights, let's be real. Like, he's better than Draw because he has at least 20% defense. His base stats aren't bad for a level 4 knight. But we're on chapter 12 at this point, and these stats just aren't cutting it. At this stage, they're just not cutting it. He has all the problems the other knights do. I mean, I guess if you want a knight, he's probably the best candidate, along with Drog. but like he's like a D tier. I think he's better than Roger, but like not by much. So yeah, D. Dolph just kind of sucks. He's better than McCowan, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, he's much better than McCowan. McCowan is McCowan is just worse in both bases and stat wise. Oh yeah, there's no reason to use McCowan. Okay, McCowan's going in F. All right, this is really easy. Yeah, McCowan. There's no reason to use McCowan. I'm gonna be honest. If you want an armor knight, you use Dolph. He's the worst armor knight in the game, and knights are bad in this game. So yeah, he's just worse than Dolph. Yeah, just like no real reason to use him. Even the wiki is just like, don't use this guy, and I agree. Like, there's no reason to use him. If you want a knight, just use someone else. And if all your other knights are dead, you don't need to use a knight. So yeah, no real reason to use him. His base stats and growth rates are just worse than Dolph. So why even use him? Like, there's no reason to use him at all, which is just unfortunate. So yeah. Unfortunately, he's just a really bad unit. Alright. Tomas. Let's talk about Tomas. He's worse Gordon. Yeah, he's just worse than Gordon. Now, I actually think there is a merit to him, right? Hear me out. Tomas is 2 levels away from promoting. It's really hard to get him there. No, there's no reason to use Tomas. Okay, I'm gonna put Tomas. Sorry, I'm trying to do something real quick. Sorry, you're gonna hear me typing. So where am I gonna put Tomas? I was gonna say he does have the merit of he only needs 2 levels to promote, and there is the Orion Bolt in this chapter that basically only he and Gordon can use. So, but the problem is you have to get him those 2 levels with these base stats, which are barely better than Gordon's 11 chapters later. And his growth rates are not good. 20 strength, 20 skill, 10 defense, 30 speed at base 5. Now, to be fair, if you are using Tomas, you only get him 2 levels, and then his speed jumps up to 14. His defense jumps up 1 point, and his skill also jumps up a couple points. The problem is he's coin flip. So he basically just turns into George if you use him, if you give him the promo gains. So he's just a George that has slightly better speed, which is just like, I guess that's like C tier worthy, but like he is also just like pretty bad because George has 7 strength, right? Hold on, let me check, because George has 7 strength, right? Wait, yeah, George has 7 strength. Yeah, so so, like, I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be really frank, guys. And this is probably gonna sound stupid. I'm gonna put him in C. Because, like, he joins in the chapter with the Orion Bolt. He's bottom of C for sure, but he joins in the chapter with the Orion Bolt. he needs only 2 levels, and then you basically have a second George, stat-wise, who has slightly better growth rates. Who has a slightly better speed growth for slightly less HP. It's not great, don't get me wrong. It's not great. But, like, if you don't want to use George, it's a backup. It's not a good backup, and I think he's definitely, but like he's kind of slightly better than Gordon. I'm not gonna lie. If you've trained Gordon, Gordon will outclass him completely. But likely you won't have trained Gordon. So, like, if you're really desperate for a Parthia user, and all your other archers are dead, Tomas can kind of be a backup George. Because the only reason why I say it is the Orion Bolt is in the chapter that you get him. So there's no waiting for Tomas like there is for Gordon, where you have to, like, drag a shitty unit through multiple chapters. You basically just get him 2 levels on his starting chapter, which you could theoretically get by, like, I don't know, having him attack the healer. Or having him attack, like, I don't know, a knight that can't attack back. And then you get him to 10, and then you use the Orion Bolt, you promote him, and then you basically have another George. So, yeah. I think he's, like, bottom of C. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why I'm rating him in C, but, like, I thought I would be rating him in, like, D or F, but, like, I don't know. He's okay. Alright, and then we have Boa. Boa. It's weird. I don't know. This tier list is weird. This tier list, I'm, like, losing my mind. And my voice. Boa. He is a bishop that joins at chapter 12. His growth rates are, surprise, surprise, abysmal. 10 HP, 10 skill, 20 speed, 10 luck, 10 defense. His base stats are not great. They're pretty much worse than Wendell's, except for speed. And I think he has a little bit more skill than Wendell. Oh yeah, he does have higher skill. Yeah, he does have higher skill. Boa actually has enough speed to deal with Garneth, with Starlight. But if you've trained Wendell at this point, Wendell will just be better than Boa. But I think Boa is a perfectly serviceable alternative. It's like, if Wendell died early, you have Boa, and Boa can do all the same things Wendell can. Because of how magic works, like, he can use all the tomes just fine, all the staves just fine. He's basically just another Wendell. I don't really see him as going anywhere else than A. He's like, I mean, he's probably B, because, like, if you have Wendell, there's no reason to use Boa. But, like, he's B. He's solid. He's just a solid unit. He's just a solid unit. He's, like, base 15 speed carries him throughout the entire game. Having 6 defense really sucks. He can't really see combat with any physical units, but, like, which I think does put him lower than Wendell, who has 8 defense. But, like, and he has no growth rates, but, like, he can do magic damage. He can use every staff in the game. That's about it. I don't really have much else to say. Alright. So yeah, he's like B, I'd say. Then we have Midia. So she joins as a paladin in chapter 12. Sorry, hold on. Base stat wise, she's pretty good. She's basically Well, she's basically kind of like Jagan if he joined 11 chapters later, base stat wise. But growth rate wise, she's a lot better. 80 HP, 30 strength, 50 skill, weapon level, 50 speed, 10 luck, 20 defense. She can use Silverlit. She can use pretty much every weapon at base except Gradivu. And it's coin flips to get to Gradivu, but like 10 starting off is great. Oh. Overall, like, she's in the best class, one of the best classes in the game. Her base stats are all right. Her growth rates are pretty all right. Her growth rates are actually pretty good outside of strength. And I guess luck, but luck doesn't really matter in this game. So, yeah, I'd say she's like B. She's pretty much just another paladin. She's okay. It helps that is a paladin. So she is in a class that's really good, but like, she's okay. She's pretty good. She's serviceable. She joins at a good point. She has good bases. She can be used for the rest of the game. You need her to recruit Astrum, who's pretty alright. Yeah, I don't know. B. That's about it. I don't know. She doesn't really get A because, like, her bases do kind of let her down. The fact that they are about equal to Jagan's. But Jagan joined 11 chapters earlier is kind of rough. And she also starts with no weapons, so you have to trade her weapons. Well, trade her as in you have to go to the convoy and grab them from there, and it's, like, really annoying. But yeah, anyway. It's okay. Alright, Astrum. Astrum is the first pre-promoted hero you get. And he is... okay. I mean, his base stats are pretty good. 8 strength, 14 skill, and 14 speed. 24 HP, 8 defense. Pretty alright. 10 weapon level. He can use every sword in the game. At base. So, yeah, he can use every sword in the game at base, and he starts with a silver sword. Growth rate wise, he has great HP, good strength, great strength at 50, good skill and weapon level at 40, bad speed at 20, good luck at 50, great luck at 50, 10% defense. So he will struggle to gain speed, but he does start at base 14, and he is a level 1 hero, so he does have 19 levels, so on average he'll go up to like 18 speed, which is, you know, fast enough to double pretty much everything in the entire game. Astrum's pretty good. He's a pretty good pre-promote. He's definitely worse than Ogma and Navarre. I think that's just a given because of because of just being a hero. But like, he's perfectly he's very similar to Medea. He is a perfectly serviceable unit in a great class that is just inferior to your other units in those same classes that you got earlier. Yeah, that's it. There's no real reason not to use Astrum. If you need a hero, Astrum perfectly does that well. He is definitely not as good as Ogma Navarre or the hero I think you get later on, Samson. I think Samson is a lot better because Samson has better bases. And better growth rates, I think, in most areas. But yeah. He's okay. There's not really much to say about some of these later units because it's just like, it's the same unit, it's the same kind of unit, but it's just later and or slightly worse. So yeah. Next we have Back. Back is going to be really easy to rank. He is a ballistician, so he goes in F tier. Base stat wise, he is slightly better than Back. Oh, sorry, he is slightly better than Jake. And his growth rates are no, just worse. 10% HP, 20% strength. Starts at 20 HP, starts at 6 strength, 10% strength. He's abysmal. He will never get strength, and that is the only thing he needs to one round. He has a 50% speed growth. So, like, he has a chance to get up to, like, 12 speed. And he might double something with a low weight tome / ballista. That's it. He actually has a 0% defense growth, so he will never get higher than 14 defense. Outside of stat boosters. Rough. Weapon level, I don't think matters, because he can't use the Parthia. Oh, wait, can he not use boots? Wait, can he not use bows? Can they only use ballista? Wait, hold on. Can they only use Ballista? Oh, they can only use Ballista. Oh, that makes him way worse. I thought they could use normal bows. No, they can only use Ballista. Okay, that makes them even worse because they are exclusively locked to Ballista, which weigh a shit ton. So their speed literally doesn't matter. So his 50% speed doesn't matter. He will never double. Alright. And he has a 40% skill growth. Not that it matters. Yeah, they're just both really bad. Sorry, Ballistician's bad. Ballistician's ass. Sorry. Alright, now we get access to Katria and Pala. The two of the Pegasus Knight sisters. So Katria and Pala are very similar and also Est. So I'm actually gonna put Katria in A. I'd say low A. I think Katria is really good. She's in one of the best classes in the game, obviously Pegasus Knight. Her growth rates are insanely good across the board. Her lowest being defense at 30%, and then strength at 40%. Her base stats are good, 5 strength, 6 skill, 7 defense. I'd say her one bad base, and I think the thing that holds her back is her 19 base HP. It is just a little bit too low. All right. Yeah, sorry. I was reading something real quick. But yeah, I think Katria is really, really good. She's one of the best units in the game. She's in a really good Pegasus Knight class. I'd say she's pretty much S. Yeah, I'll put her in S. Yeah. I think Katria is held back by the fact she has 19 base HP. But honestly, you could just give her a Seraphrobe, and that's just, like, instantly gone. You do get a Seraphrobe 2 chapters late, like, a few chapters later. Well, actually, chapter 19, because she joins in chapter 14. Which I didn't realize is quite a bit later. Yeah, you know, I think A. You know, I'm gonna move her to A. Because her base HP is pretty bad. So she does have survivability issues. It's weird, because her base HP is actually the lowest out of the 3 Pegasus Knights, which actually does affect her quite negatively in this game compared to other which I think does hurt her. Again, it does hurt her. But I think overall, if you want to train a Pegasus Knight, she's one of the best candidates for it. And she will have more strength than Sita. Sita will pretty much always stay at like 10 strength, even if she promotes. While Katria does have a high chance to gain more strength, so yeah. Pretty good. I'd say she's A. Because she's definitely an investment unit, but she's a great investment unit, like Est, in this game. Then we got Pala. Pala is... I would say actually really, really good in this game. I thought she was going to be more abysmal, but like honestly, I'm going to put Pala in S. I think this is an S tier unit. Now that I'm looking at her. Yeah, this is an S tier unit. I'm putting Pala in S. I don't give a fuck. Pala, she's probably the best Pegasus Knight in the game. Because looking at this, right, base stat wise, she's much better than Katria in pretty much every point stat. By like pretty good margins. Like she's 2 away from using Grataview, which is the only other weapon she can't use at base. She starts at level 8, so she only needs 2 levels to promote. Growth rate wise, all her growth rates are insane except for speed, but she has a base of 14. So she's only 6 points away from capping. And she starts at level 8. So on average, if you just train her, she will cap speed. On average. So, and even if you promote her immediately, she doesn't get any points in speed. She will on average go to 18. So she has enough speed to double pretty much everything. And her defense growth is 30%. And she starts at 9. And she goes up to 14 when she promotes. So she has a decently high chance to get up to like 19 defense or cap defense, which is insane. And she's in one of the best classes in the game. She starts with a Silverland. Like, insane. I think arguably she is one of the best units in the game. I think Pao is one of the best units in the game. I didn't even realize, I didn't use her, but I think I should have. Because, like, she's better than Katria. I think she's the best of the Pegasus sisters. Which is funny, because in Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, I think she's the worst Pegasus sister in that game. But in this game, she's the best, I feel. I think she's up there with Ast. I think she's competing with Ast. But yeah. I think Katria is actually the worst. Which is funny, because in Echoes, she's the best. It's by like a pretty big margin, but yeah. Yeah, no, Pala S. Easy S. Let's go. I think it has to be S. Like, she's in the best class. She's probably the best candidate for the thing. Yeah. Alright. And then we got Aaron and Samson. Now, I didn't use Aaron in my playthrough because I didn't need him. I wanted Samson, but like... I mean, his base stats are pretty good. 8 strength. His strength is a little bit low at 8, and his HP is a little bit low at 24. Weapon level is 10. Okay. Use every weapon except Grataview at base. Great. 11 speed is good. 10 defense is great. Base growth wise, she's pretty good in everything except like defense at 10% and skill at 30. So like everything else is pretty good. Now the only problem about Samson and Aaron is like you can only recruit one. So depending on which village you hit in chapter 16, you'll either recruit Samson or Aaron, and then the other village will be locked off to you. Aaron seems pretty good. He seems like a perfectly serviceable unit. I don't know if he's A tier. I think because his base. No, you know what? I'll put him in A. I think he and Samson are very similar. I think he's definitely A. He's a paladin that joins in at a point where it's like his stats. No, actually, I'll put him in B. His base stat, he's about Midia's size. I was gonna say his growths are really good, but his base stats are a little bit lacking for that point in the game. Like 10 defense is fine, but 24 HP and 8 strength is a little bit too low to be able to be doing really very good damage. So yeah, I think he's B. I think he's perfectly serviceable. I'm like losing my track of mind. I've been doing this for like how long? 2 hours and 40 minutes. Goddamn. We're getting there though. We're getting there. We're getting there, man. We're almost there. We only got a few units left. We're near the end. But yeah, Aaron I think is perfectly serviceable. He's like B. I think him and Samson are very similar. It's just what you want for preference. Samson has better bases. Aaron has a better class and better like growth rates. Like, no, neither of them are very bad. Let's talk about Samson real quick. Samson is the one I picked for my game. Samson growth rate wise, he's got 20 defense, but only 20%. He only has 20% speed, but like he has base 15, so on average he'll pretty much cap speed if you get a little bit lucky. He only has 10 strength, but 30% growth is fine. 70 HP is good. 70 weapon level. He doesn't really need weapon level, but like he has 70% in it. Samson is perfectly serviceable. He's like a B tier unit. Like if you need a hero late game, he can do it. He's worse than like all the other heroes, but he is a hero, so like it doesn't really matter. He's just okay. He's good. He's not really in any order. I think he's better than Bars, but like he's a good unit. He's like, he fills the same role as Midia, Aaron, and Astrum. They're like good pre-promotes that like if you lost on a hero or something, they are perfectly serviceable. They're definitely worse than their counterparts that are higher up, but like you can use them and they'll be fine. That's basically it. There's nothing really to say about them. Samson can use every sword in the game, and that's the only weapon type he gets, so like, fuck it. Alright, next we have Zane. So Zane is an easy S tier. I did not use him, but he is easily an S tier unit. Zane is weird. He is basically a freelancer class. So what he does is he basically will take, he can copy unit next to him, and he will copy their stats exactly, including their HP, but he will not copy their inventory. Which is a little bit annoying. So you do have to give the items to him beforehand, which can take a bit of time if you have not set him up in a previous chapter, because you don't have access to a convoy in between chapters. So I think that is a downside, and the fact that it also costs him a turn to transform. So it does take a bit of time to get him set up to be one of your other units. But he can be an exact copy of your best unit. So you can have two of your best unit running around, which is really, really good. Zane does have growth rates, but his growth rates do not matter in any way, shape, or form, because he only gets experience when he's not transformed into someone else. And his growth rates only affect his untransformed stats, which you never will be using because they're garbage. And if you're using them untransformed, what are you doing? Like, he's not meant for that. He's basically just your best unit again. So, really good. He's basically as good as your best unit in your army. That's it. I don't think he does it's a little bit annoying to use, but like, I mean he's fine enough. He's like, there's no real reason to put him any lower, you know. He's like a dancer, you know. He's what dancing was before they got dancers. Yeah. All right. Next is Est. Est is the best. I truly think Est is really good in this game. I think she's the second best Pegasus Knight in the game. I think base stat wise, your base stats aren't even bad. They're better than Katria's. She does join 4 chapters later, but she does have better bulk than Katria, so she is somewhat easier to train. She also comes with the Mercurius. So she will try to talk to Marth when she joins on the map, and she will give him Mercurius, his sword, his funny sword. Growth rate wise, S growth rates are absolutely insane. 70 strength, 70 skill, 70 weapon level, 70 speed. She will cap all those stats pretty much guaranteed if you train her. 50 HP is fine, especially with a 22 base. Her defense is only 20%, but she is both in Pegasus Knight, which automatically gets her 14 when she promotes, and 20% is equivalent to every other physical class in the game, so it doesn't fucking matter. I don't want to put Est in S because I think Est is not as good as Pala, and I think she does have the caveat of joining late. But I do think she is the second best Pegasus Knight in the game. Because she does not absolutely need the promo and get screwed over by it being super late. The first promo item for Pegasus Knights is the chapter after she joins, and you can very easily get her enough experience in her starting map to get to level 10 and then early promote her. Like, immediately promote her, and then she's really good. So, yeah. Her only downside is slightly low HP, but you can also give her the Seraph Robe in Chapter 19 if you really want to. And then her HP issue is gone. So, yeah. Pretty good. She's A tier. She's in one of the best classes in the game. Her growth rates are insane. Her bases are good enough to where you can take advantage of her growth rates. And yeah, A. I don't think she deserves any lower than A. Some people would probably rate her B or C because of how late she joins, but it's whatever. It's like you still have like 7 chapters left, so it's perfectly fine. And her base stats are not bad enough to where she's like significantly being like destroyed by the enemies or whatever. So yeah. Alright, next we have is Tiki, the last unit I recruited in my Iron Man before everything went to shit. Tiki. Tiki is pretty good. Tiki is basically Bantu but better. So she's at least, I'd say she's probably A. Now, base stat wise, her base stats are a little bit low, except for like weapon level, HP. Her HP is average for units at this point. 24 is pretty average for new units you get. Weapon level doesn't matter because she can only use the Divine Stone. Her defense is a ridiculous 18, so she is your bulkiest unit in terms of defense. Pretty much, unless you got like a really high level Minerva who got lucky with defense procs, or you gave someone like all the Draco shields you had. Growth rate wise, her growth rates are some of the best, are pretty much the best in the game. 80 HP, 50 strength, 90 skill, 70 weapon level, 90 speed, 90 luck. She has 0 defense, but her base is 18 with the Divine Stone, so she doesn't really need defense. She does kind of want a speed ring, but she doesn't like super duper need it. Because her growth is 90%, and she'll pretty much get up to like, she'll pretty much get a speed proc every level, so she'll go up to like on average like 17, 18 speed, which is good enough because she doesn't get weighed down by the Divine Stone, I'm pretty sure. And the Divine Stone has like, I think like 20 might. And it does effective damage against Manikeets, so, which are, I think, more frequent during the end game. So, yeah, she's pretty good. She's basically your anti-Manikeet person, especially for the Mage Dragons, because the only way you're killing the Mage Dragons outside of Falchion is with a Wormslayer or Tiki, because you can't use magic, which was the other best thing to get rid of Manikeets. So, yeah. Pretty good. I'd say she's A. She's definitely, like, pretty good. She's definitely one of the units you can probably put in your army and she'll do really well. But, yeah. Next, we have the 3 units we did not... And lastly, we have the 3 units we did not get in our Iron Man, but I'll just rate them anyway because I think it's fine to do it because I can pretty much... I can probably gauge how they're going to do. Third to last is Lorenz. Lorenz is actually unique in this game in that he is the only recruitable general, because none of your armor knights can promote to general in this game. So he does have a unique class. Unfortunately, he is still locked to 5 movement like armor knights. Base stat wise, he's pretty good. 11 strength is great. 15 weapon level. He can use every... Oh, since he's a... Oh, he can't use lances in this game. Oh, he can only use swords. Okay. So his weapon level is just really overkill. But he can use every sword in the game not locked to Marth. His base speed is kind of bad at 6, but... His base speed is actually abysmal at 6. But he does have base 16 defense, which is only beaten by Tiki, pretty much. Or a heavily trained Pegasus Knight. Growth rate wise, his growth rates are actually really good outside of speed and defense. The 20% speed does suck because he does want speed, but 70 HP, 50 strength, 70 skill, 50 weapon level. He will cap those. Oh, he also has 3 base skill, which is not great. So he will have accuracy issues, but he will quickly get out of it. And plus, since experience is just not literally like halved for promoting units, or circus are promoted, he will gain experience kind of quickly. He's a perfectly serviceable wall. He's just a late game wall. I'll give him C because he is really slow. So enemies will just double him. So crits can become an issue. But I think he's like a perfectly serviceable C unit. He's serviceable. He's held back by his low movement and his low speed and skill, but like his growth rate and skill will like get him past that if you want to use him. He is locked to swords, but swords are the best weapon type in the game, so like he's fine with them. He won't be weighed down too much by them, but he'll get doubled by everything anyway. But 16 base defense and 34 base HP. He'll take a couple physical hits without it, unless he gets crit a lot. So C tier. All right, next second to last, we have the plot device, Elise. I hate saying she's a plot device, but she is basically just a plot device, unfortunately, in Arcanea games. It sucks. She has really insane growth rates, but they don't matter because she's a cleric and she can't gain levels without going into battle. And every enemy at this point will one-round her because she only has 16 HP and 3 defense with 7 speed. So she'll get one-rounded by every enemy. So her growth rates so her insane growth rates will never happen, which really fucking sucks. Why did they give her these then? You can also promote her, but you're never promoting her because she needs to gain 6 levels and all that, and you're never getting that. She does come with the Alm Staff, and she is the only unit in the first game to be able to use the Alm Staff, which lets you resurrect 1 dead unit in Chapter 24, and that's it. Or, sorry, Chapter 23. Other than that, or I think you can only use the Alm Staff in Chapter 25. I don't know. Elise is not good. She's an F tier unit. Elise is basically just a heal bot you get at the very end of the game. She can do, like, she can technically do some healing with, like, physic and all that. And she can warp because she has level 7. And she can use, she's the only one that can use the Alm Staff in the first game, but, like, there's no reason to use her. Like, you can use, Lena does her job better. Lena, like, you have Lena, you have Maria, you have Wendell, you have Boa, you have trained Merrick, or promoted Merrick, or / Linda, who can just do everything she can better. There's no real, Elise is basically just a plot device. She's just Mar's sister that was kidnapped, and you save her. That's it. She's not a good unit. She joins way too late to be effective. Her great growth rates don't matter because healers can't gain experience. She joins way too late in the game to be of any use outside of, like, healing on the final 2 maps, which other units you have that can just do that better. Unless you have a dead unit you want to revive, there's literally no reason to ever field her. And, yeah, it's just F tier. There's no reason to use her. So, yeah, it sucks, but, like, yeah. And then finally, we have the final unit in the game, Goto, who joins in the final chapter. So, Goto. He joins in the final chapter of the game as level 18 Bishop. His base stats are insane. He comes with a Thoron, a Swarm, a Recover, a Fortify. His growths are insane, although you won't really get much use out of them because he only gets 2 levels and he joins in the final chapter. But he does have insane growth rates, so he will get, on average, 1... No, actually, he already has cap skill, weapon level, and speed, so his growth rates in those areas don't matter. But he can get up... He is likely to get 40 HP if you level him up twice. And he can get a pointed defense, so he can go to 16 defense. He can use every tome and staff in the game that's not exclusive to certain units. He comes with really good equipment. He's an easy A tier. He's a unit that joins at the final map to help you get through it. And that's about it. Like, there's not much to say about him. He's good. Like, he joins in the final map with great base stats. He joins with really good equipment. His growth rates are great, but they don't really matter because, like, he joins in the final map, so there's no real, like, you don't really need, he doesn't need the levels. But he's insanely bulky at 38 HP and 15 defense. Like, he's just really good. He also has 7 resistance. He actually has a resistance stat because he has a built-in talisman, which is kind of insane. He is the only unit that has base resistance in this game. So that is also insane. So he's just, like, honestly, I kind of want to rate him S because, like, he is only in the final map of the game, but he is really good in that final map. I'll put Gato in S. He's really good in that map. He's really good in his final map. So, like, yeah, S. He's insane in his final map. Because I think, like, for a unit like Gato, you kind of have to rate them in the one map they're in, right? How good is he in the one map he's in? And with these base stats, he's insane. So, yeah, S. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, that's the tier list. It's probably ass. I kind of just did this for funsies to have something to upload today. But yeah, that's it. I know probably some people are going to argue about this. It's just a for fun tier list. At the end of the day, tier lists are for fun. They're not like anything. Tier lists are always going to have some biases. They're going to have some placements that people are going to argue with. But I think overall, this is fairly fine as a tier list. They're not in any order in the tiers. They kind of are, but they kind of aren't. And, yeah. Anyway, see you guys in the next part where we'll do another Fire Emblem Iron Man. Probably FE3, because I want to try that out for the first time. Anyway, have a good night. Peace.